Sunday morning, love you.
Oh.
Monday morning, love you.
Yo.
I wanna love you every day. I wanna love you every day. This is how we start the podcast.
Sunday morning, love you.
Monday morning, love you.
कपिराइट त लाग्दैन यो त बरु
Same guys.
यही नै हाम्रो इन्ट्रो हाल्छु म कसम यही हाल्छु म इन्ट्रो यही हाल्छु म All right, BCS podcast episode number 19, ladies and gentlemen, starting on 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Welcome, Norgey.
Thank you.
Finally.
Finally.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome our BCS podcast episode number 19, man, none other than Tshering Norgey Sherpa.
Thank you.
Now, all right, so before starting, now let me do the honor. We're talking about Norgey Barima, ladies and gentlemen. Norgey is one of the very passionate guy, one of the very passionate people, one of the very passionate young person that I've ever known till now. Iti chuto mehnat gareर चाहिँ माथि आउने. He's a roaster, by the way. He's a roaster, roasting in Lekali coffee, and he's a processor, QP2 processor as well. He is now a certified sensory. के भन्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ? CQI sensory.
CQI sensory. The foundation मात्र त्यो अस्तिको चाहिँ.
जे पनि हो नि त.
Let's go into like intermediate.
Intermediate as well. Wow, यति short period of time मा यति धेरै कुराहरु छ यसमा. आउन त भित्र आउने केही फरक पर्दैन. आउन definitely. No problem. Keeson, come. All right. So yes, yes, all of these three things. All of these three things.
Yes.
Good. How do you feel?
Right now, pretty good. Pretty good. Just talking with my coffee family. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
How long have you been now? I think in the coffee field.
I think it's almost 2 years now.
2 years now.
Yeah.
Last छिटो कुरो गरेको. अति छिटो कुरो गरेको मान्छे. I really love, and I still remember the fact सबैजनालाई मैले के भनिरहन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ I still remember the first day that I've seen you, and I've met you, and I think that is the first day that you have ever decided, most probably, त्यो coffee field मा लाग्ने, and you wanted to know more about what is there into, in coffee and how you're going to start. किनकि लेकालीमा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ let's start from you. Let's hear from you. यो कुराहरु चाहिँ. Let's start about your अलिकति stories or say how talk about yourself, whatever you want to talk about. Let's start from that.
So let's see, let's not go too far. When I was born. So I completed my bachelor's degree in the States. I did my bachelor's in biochemistry and molecular bio. I was thinking of doing something in the biotech field after coming back to Nepal, but that didn't work out too well. So coming in touch with Nimadai, I got more into coffee. Before that, coffee was mostly just Nescafe for me. And there was one time when I drank the brewed coffee in French press, and it was very different. It was not as bitter. It was very light on the mouth. So that's when I started getting more into coffee. I started asking a few questions to Nimadai, but after that, Nimadai recommended me go to a barista school, baristascoffeeschool. It was really good. I think that was the first time where I had the chance to know more about coffee. And it was in the Lajingpot band.
Exactly.
One of the best times. So it was good. So after that, I started roasting initially. There was a lot for me to learn as a roaster because, to be honest, as I mentioned, the only thing that I knew about coffee was Nescafe, just stir it, sugar, stir it. But after getting some lessons into roasting from Nimadai, I was able to start understanding how coffee is a very, very vast topic.
Yeah, true.
Which had a lot of information for me to find out, gather, and that's pretty much how I started my coffee journey. And after that, as you mentioned, I got into processing as well.
Exactly.
And processing was another chapter that just like opened up a big world that was like super exciting for me.
Yeah.
So then we started like processing small batches, and that was pretty good, like trying different experimental processes, wash process as well, and roasting them. It's very what I felt was like it's almost like raising a kid. You get to harvest the coffee cherries, you get to see them transform from the cherries to the beans, then you start roasting them, and then you finally cup the coffees. Then you see like how they have actually grown.
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting.
Sweet.
That's a brief introduction about like how I got into coffee.
Having a background where you have learned biochemistry, right? That's what I can say. And is that one of the main reasons that you are really interested in roasting? किनकि तपाईसँग चान्स पनि थियो कि where you can you did the barista where you wanted to understand what coffee is all about, extractions देखि लिएर सबै कुराहरू. When we were together you were explaining about these stuff as well. तर after that class I think you started roasting, right? सिधै गएर roasting. Is that because of your background? Because it's much more like chemistry. Because still now, when we talk together, you basically talk about chemistry and everything. And one, I would say, मेरो लागि चाहिँ नराम्रो habit हो, अरूको लागि नोर्गेको लागि चाहिँ राम्रो habit हो. If you ever ask नोर्गेलाई कुनै पनि चीजको बारेमा, doesn't matter whatever it is, he'll find it out within 5 minutes. चाहे त्यो गुगलबाट होस्, चाहे आफैले होस्, but not on the surface level. It's too deep information that you always try to figure it out. So is that one of the main reason, having a background as a biochemistry, you wanted to go in roasting, or you just find roasting pretty much fascinating?
So I would say that is one reason why I like started as a roaster. There were some aspects of what I studied which I could apply in the coffee field as well. Similarly, same thing in processing as well. But I would say it's just a world of like possibilities in coffee, the big world that opened up to me, that got me more interested in coffee itself. The background in biochemistry did help me advance faster, because then I could like try different things out, see what changes in the processing, roasting, anything brought in the final cup. That did help me in the progress part, I would say.
Yeah.
But the main thing is like the interest, I would say, is just like the big world possibility of coffee.
True.
That got me interested.
Sweet. So, coming back, I want to ask you the same thing that you always used to ask to the people. I know you.
That was coming.
What coffee means to you now? It's my turn.
All right.
What is coffee to you now? Your question is Norgele sabla sodne kaam garte. I was Norgele after video.
So I was a bit confused myself about like what coffee meant after I got more into coffee, because initially what I thought was coffee is just a drink that people drink to get caffeinated. But then we started doing a lot of processes, different roast profiles. Then like coffee is not just a bitter thing that you drink in the morning or evening. It's something, it can be transformed into something that tastes really amazing, fruity, almost like a juice, I would say. But then I was thinking like, what is coffee actually? So I would say, so currently what I would say for myself is that coffee is a caffeinated drink that you drink to get more caffeine. But that drink doesn't need to be only bitter.
Exactly.
That drink can be converted into something that you can enjoy with your friends. I usually like to compare coffee with wine. It's like there's a lot of wines, like so you don't drink wine to get drunk. You drink wine to like enjoy family, friends, just like the company. So coffee can be turned into something like that. So let's say a really good, well-processed anaerobic coffee. Yes, you drink it to get caffeinated as well. But the thing is, you can talk about the coffee itself and drink a good cup, not only thinking about coffee. That's what I would say.
Now this is coming from the guy who does not drink at all, talking about wine and other stuff. This is really interesting. Now that's pretty awesome. How was your initial stage? Kineki, I've seen it. the initial stage was very quick for you because धेरै informationsहरू थियो when it comes to roasting and everything you worked really hard into यो roasting phase-मा पनि plus त्यो गर्दा गर्दै तपाईको लागि चाहिँ यो QB2को कोर्स पनि आयो नि त त्यसमा चाहिँ सो धेरै चिज एकैचोटि भयो जस्तो फिल भएको थियो कि थिएन
त्यो चाहिँ भएको चाहिँ थियो बट द थिङ इज इभन रोस्टिङकै बारेमा भन्यो भने पनि द थिङ इज since as I already mentioned it's a very vast world like roasting itself processing being another vast world alikati delve in garnu cha alikati garo chai bhayo थियो but the thing is एउटा specific point बाट start गरेपछि चाहिँ it got a lot more easier भनौं so same thing with processing I still remember processing class गर्ने बेला like धेरै जस्तो मान्छेहरु चाहिँ अब they were already a lot into coffee they knew about like honey processing and all that stuff म चाहिँ त्यो बेला चाहिँ रोस्टिङको बारेमा मात्र थाहा थियो रोस्टिङको बारेमा मात्र थाहा थियो एन्ड द थिङ इज लाइक प्रोसेसिङ पार्ट चाहिँ चेरीबाट ग्रिन बिन कसरी आउँछ त्यो चाहिँ थाहा थिएन लाइक आई डिडन्ट डिग टु मच इन्टु द्याट बिकज आई वान्टेड टु फोकस अन रोस्टिङ इट्सेल्फ प्रोसेसिङमा छिरेपछि चाहिँ इट वाज बिट हार्ड इन द बिगिनिङ आई लाइक त्यही बुक खोल्यो पढ्यो
I still remember the day you know हामीहरु अन्य दिनभरि बिहानै 7 बजेदेखि उठेर टक्क लाएर अनि बेलुकातिर सबै गर्यो everyone wants to chill around त्यो क्याम्प फायरमा मजाले बसेर चाहिँ अनि खानासाना खाइसकेपछि and I still remember त्यो डेहरू चाहिँ we are just sitting outside chilling around talking about a lot of stuff saying you know communicating with each other trying to build up the bond and everything Where is Norgey? Norgey is not there. And Norgey must be asleep. I was सुतिसक्यो होला गएर नोर्गेको रुममा गएर हेर्छु किताब पल्टाएर पढिरहेको छ नोर्गे full on. Now every point of time, the kind of dedication that you have had. पहिला पनि अहिले पनि we can see that. Is that पहिलादेखि नै त्यस्तै हो कि just that it's a new chapter for you and it's a new challenge for you. Plus, have you ever felt that pressure? किनकि तपाईँको गुरु Nimada and coming up with a brand who has got a lot of एउटा ब्रान्ड छ and lot of prestigious to हामी हुन्छ नि एउटा prestige छ जहाँ चाहिँ people will look up to it त्यो खालको प्रेसर थियो कि क्या
So processing गर्ने बेला चाहिँ definitely थियो The thing is come on like Lekali बाट आएको like निमादाईबाट सिकेको भनेपछि like people kind of expect something नि त So like even though I had a lot to learn from Nimadai about roasting, processing ko barema chai त्यति थाहा थिएन So the thing is अलिकति प्रेसर चाहिँ थियो तर the thing is इन्ट्रेस्टले गर्दाखेरि पनि अलिकति हेल्प चाहिँ गरेको थियो like that's why I like learning more stuff भनौँ न So that's why I think यो रोस्टिङमा प्रोसेसिङमा प्रोग्रेस गर्ने रिजन पनि त्यही नै हो It's like I like learning about like more stuff Let's say राम्रो कफी त खानुपर्छ तर नराम्रो कफी पनि खाएपछि चाहिँ त्यो नराम्रो चाहिँ रहेछ राम्रो कसरी बनाउन मिल्छ भन्ने चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट सिकिन्छ क्या राम्रो मात्र धेरै खायो भने नराम्रोको के हो भन्ने चाहिँ बुझ्दैन नि त So that's why I like collecting a lot of data like doing a lot of experiments भनौँ न
Yes I know that too much of experiments that you basically like to do यसमा चाहिँ Now यही कुरामा Coming back to your study, how much science is important? This I'll sound very stupid on this part, but then still I want to ask you, being a science student, how much science is important when it comes to roasting? I'm gonna specifically talk about roasting but how much science is important when it comes to roasting?
So how much science is important? भनेपछि चाहिँ it's like science चाहिँ every field मा चाहिँ important चाहिँ छ Science भनेपछि like including math भनौँ न हैन
Yeah
The reason being अब अलिकति consistency चाहिँ बस्नुपर्छ नि त Consistency को लागि एउटा data collection method चाहिन्छ त्यो data collection पछि अब लास्टमा अब just production roast मा गएर espresso extraction को बारेमा भनौँ न roast गर्यो एउटा batch हैन data collect गरेर त्यो कफी चाहिँ कस्तो टेस्ट गर्दैछ अस्तिको भन्दा कस्तो छ भन्ने एउटा डेटा चाहिँ हुनुपर्छ नि त त्योलाई चाहिँ कसरी एनालाइज गर्ने भन्नेमा चाहिँ अलिकति इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ अब जस्ट टकिङ अबाउट द साइन्स पार्ट एज इन लाइक बायोलोजी केमिस्ट्रीहरूको कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ इभन फिजिक्स भनौँ न त्यसमा चाहिँ इट इज इम्पोर्टेन्ट टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड द होल रोस्टिङ प्रोसेस अब पुरै स्क्रैचबाटै गऱ्यो भने चाहिँ इट मेक्स इट्स अ बिट इजियर फर मी टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड इट द्याट वे क्या बिकज आइभ लर्न्ड टु सी द वर्ल्ड द्याट वे So let's say like heat transfer को बारेमा भन्दाखेरि नि since it's a अब हामीले चाहिँ drum roastery use गरिरहेको हुन्छ
Yeah.
it's an enclosed space
Mm.
हुन त it's not like fully enclosed तर त्यहाँबाट कतिको heat चाहिँ transfer भइरहेको छ त्यो equationहरुबाट calculate गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's a bit easier for me because then I get to analyze like what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right भन्ने चाहिँ so it is pretty important भन्छु but it's just about like how deep you want to get into it.
Yeah.
Like you don't need it all, but if you do want to understand it like fully, then I would recommend like trying to see it in a science perspective. You know?
Oh, that's gonna be too hard for me. Oh, not
No.
my cup of coffee. You know that, right? But yeah, but यही कुरालाई चाहिँ do you think there is gap हाम्रो अहिलेको सिचुएसन्समा हाम्रो इन्डस्ट्रीमा यो कफी इन्डस्ट्रीमा you see that gap and do you feel like there's still point of time जहाँ चाहिँ we need to fill that gap when it comes to having a knowledge on science भोगेर गर्नु र पढेर नगर्नु टाइपको कुराहरूमा चाहिँ यो त छन त छ but then how much difference do you think it's still there?
So like coffee community as in just like
No, it's just roasting man. When it comes to science and roasting together, because most of the people they have been practicing coffee butning, coffee roast गर्ने त पहिलादेखि नै गरिरहेछ नि त. Now lot of people like we have just done the roasting classes and everything and त्यति बेला पनि मैले थाहा पाएँ there's too much science in it. त्यो पनि normally हामीले गर्ने बेलामा simple तरिकाले intimidate गर्दाखेरि पनि अनि like do you see that gap it's still there हाम्रो कन्टेक्स्टमा जुन चाहिँ अहिले नेपालमा कफी जुन रोस्टिङ गरिरहेछ नि because I believe you have tasted a lot of different kind of roast profile as well. You have done a lot of research on these part. So what do you think? Is there the gap?
So gap चाहिँ I wouldn't say there's a lot of gap, but the thing is about science चाहिँ कति science छ भनेपछि it's like अब एउटा अब if you're just roasting for yourself अब घरमै खानुको लागि सानो ब्याचमा कोहीले त्यो प्यानहरुमै रोस्ट गरिरहेको हुन्छ त्यस्तोमा गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ you don't need a lot of science भनौं but if you are doing it in a production scale एउटा बिजनेस तरिकामा गरिरहेछ भने चाहिँ it's very important because त्यसमा चाहिँ it's not only about taste aspect मा त चाहिन्छ हैन तर के भन्छ बिजनेस एस्पेक्टमा पनि चाहिन्छ कि because you need to find out like how much coffee is going out like कति चाहिँ कन्ज्युम भइरहेछ 1 year को लागि कति चाहिन्छ since like coffee only grows like once a year नेपालमा चाहिँ so it's like you need to calculate कति चाहिँ कलेक्ट गर्नुपर्छ कति चाहिँ चाहिन्छ कति चाहिँ के भन्छ ब्याकअपको लागि राख्नुपर्छ कति चाहिँ लस भइरहेछ त्यो हेर्नुको लागि चाहिँ चाहिन्छ कि so taste aspect ma चाहिँ I feel like there's a lot of people like who've been trying different roast profiles so like धेरै in depth like full on science ma छैन भने नि they've been doing like pretty well and I like that it's like try चाहिँ गरिरहेछ कि like different profiles हरु and I like when people try a lot of different things so यो नै तरिका हुनु पर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हुँदैन कि so that's I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it makes sense because that definitely we can see that as well किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ you know comparatively people have that experience पहिला देखि नै गर्दै आइराको and the kind of consumer that we have it over here in Nepal त्यही अनुसारले चाहिँ it's not too tough because हाम्रोमा अझै पनि कफी भनेको बिटर नै हुनुपर्छ भन्ने कुराहरुले चाहिँ मान्छेले you know they try to get the same roast profiles again and again coffee ma tel aunu parcha bhanne hisable they still work on that one so it's the same thing that they have been practicing for years and years but comparatively any ho bhane kinaki now roasting is a platform jaha chai most of the people are interested and now for example I and other people as well hamrai sathi bhaiharu धेरै जना मान्छे roasting ma hunनुहुन्छ and they have been pretty much interested in these stuff what are the challenges that you see as a roaster specifically talking about हाम्रो industry ma chai Nepal ko coffee industry ma chai
challenges let me think अब एउटा specifically नै भन्छु होला just like one एउटा चाहिँ भन्छु as you mentioned त्यो कफी भन्ने चाहिँ बिटर नै हुनुपर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ अझै still like धेरै जस्तोको माइन्डसेट मा छ अनि the thing is अब बिटरनेस चाहिँ अब साइन्सकै टपिकमा भन्ने हो भने चाहिँ डार्क रोस्ट गर्दाखेरि बिटरनेस आउँछ कफी चाहिँ स्ट्रङ हुन्छ कडा हुन्छ भन्ने विचार छ कि तर थिङ इज रोस्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ आफ्टर सर्टेन पोइन्ट I would say like around medium dark तिर generally भनिदिन्छु medium dark तिर त्यो क्रस गरेपछि चाहिँ कफी चाहिँ कफी भन्दा नि it's more turning into ash क्या so उनीहरूले चाहिँ त्यो burnt taste चाहिँ strong coffee भनेर रियलाइज के सोचेर त्यो उस गर्न सुरु गर्छ क्या but I see like a lot of people even हाम्रो कफी कम्युनिटीको गाइजहरूले पनि अब कफी चाहिँ बेटर मात्र होइन भनेर डिफ्रेन्ट प्रोसेसहरू ट्राई गरेर लाइट रोस्टमा ट्राई गरेर त्यो चाहिँ देखाउनु खोजिरहेको छ अनि आई थिङ्क द्याट्स गुड लाइक डिफ्रेन्ट अब पब्लिक कपिङहरू पनि गऱ्यो धेरै कम्पिटिसन्सहरू गरेपछि आई थिङ्क द्याट्स क्रिएटिङ मोर अवेरनेस सो वी आर लाइक स्लोली गेटिङ देयर भनौँ या
Now, when you explain about different kind of processing that has been practicing in Nepal, we have been doing that as well, and I know that you have been doing a lot of different processed coffee, roasting it as well. You know, how do you see that different processing coffee been processed? Those coffee again coming back to roastery and being, you know, practicing in a different roast profile. So, is it a good sign or is it a tough? Definitely, since we do not have too much of productions, you know that stuff. We have got very minimum production, so to say. At certain point of time, I'm not going to but are we heading on a right directions? Questions I'm say.
So, it's the different processes, different roast profiles ko bare mein bhanne ho bhane चाहिँ I think we are heading in the right direction. You are correct. अब production चाहिँ धेरै चाहिँ छैन हैन नेपालको तर this still the thing is अब we want to touch the international market ni ta
yeah
अब इन्टरनेसनल मार्केट छुनु छ भने बाहिरको मान्छेहरूलाई स्पेसिफिक रिजनको मान्छेहरूलाई कस्तो खालको कफी मनपर्छ कुन प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि कुन रोस्ट लेभल लाइक प्रोफाइल गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्तो खालको टेस्ट आउँदो रहेछ त्यो थाहा पाउनुको लागि चाहिँ अब इभन इफ नट इन अ बिग क्वान्टिटी लेट्स से 100 केजी ग्रिन बिन बनाउनु पर्छ भने छैन लेट्स से 5 केजी 3 केजी बनाएर माइक्रो लट लेट्स से 500 ग्राम भयो बनाए पनि हुन्छ 1 केजी बनाए पनि हुन्छ त्यो हिसाबले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we as a country can know more about our own coffee like हाम्रो क्लाइमेटमा कस्तो खालको चाहिँ फल्छ कुन प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्तो फ्लेभर आउँछ नेचुरल गर्दाखेरि कस्तो आउँछ वाश कस्तो हुन्छ हनी एनारोबिक गर्दा कस्तो आउँछ सो इन द्याट वे आई वुड से लाइक वी आर हेडिङ इन द राइट डाइरेक्सन तर त्यही अब द थिङ इज अब अलिकति डिफिकल्टी चाहिँ प्रोडक्सन साइडमै छ एज यु मेन्सन
What's your favorite processing जुन चाहिँ तपाईँलाई रोस्टिङ गर्न मजा आउँछ I'm going to ask you a lot of difficult questions आज because it's going to be much more educational podcast आज चाहिँ
so कुन चाहिँ प्रोसेस मनपर्छ भन्दा नि
रोस्टिङ गर्न मजा आउँछ होइन नट फर द ड्रिङ्किङ बट देन रोस्ट गर्न चाहिँ क्यान बी इजी फर यु क्यान बी च्यालेन्जिङ फर यु क्यान बी एनिथिङ यु वान टक अबाउट अल अफ दिस प्रोफाइल मैले किनकि म फलाना प्रोसेस कफिजहरू रोस्ट गर्दाखेरि दिज आर द थिङ्स यु क्यान टक अबाउट इट सो द्याट मोस्ट अफ द पिपल हु आर इन्टु रोस्टिङ राइट नाउ दे क्यान ह्याभ द आइडियाज अबाउट दिस स्टफ एज वेल
सो मलाई स्पेसिफिक प्रोसेस भन्दा नि अब न्यू प्रोसेस्ड कफी चाहिँ रोस्ट गर्नु मन लाग्छ भनौँ न
न्यू प्रोसेस कफी
डिफ्रेन्टली प्रोसेस्ड भनौँ न अब लेट्स से अब if somebody is processing like a very different anaerobic coffee अब it's a different coffee ni roast गर्दाखेरि different react गर्छ
exactly
so I want to know how it's reacting how it's changing while it's roasting के so त्यो गर्न चाहिँ मजा आउँछ अब स्पेसिफिकली मलाई नेचुरल नै मनपर्छ एनारोबिक नै मनपर्छ हनी मनपर्छ वास त्यस्तो भन्ने चाहिँ छैन इट्स जस्ट लाइक न्यू प्रोसेस डिफ्रेन्ट खालको कफी छ भने चाहिँ आई गेट लाइक एक्साइटेड भनौँ न इट्स अ डिफ्रेन्ट कफी इट्स अ बिट नर्भ ऱ्याकिङ लाइक यु डोन्ट वान्ट टु स्पोइल इट कोही अब डिफ्रेन्ट अब स्पेसल एक्सपेरिमेन्ट्स लट्सहरू त सानो लट्समै बनाएर आउँछ धेरै हुँदैन सो there's this thing where you don't want to spoil it as well but you still want to learn about the coffee how it's been processed and what taste profiles you can get out of that
You do a lot of production roast as well okay
yeah production roast pani garira huncha
can you explain to our audience what actually is production roast
so production roast ko barema bhanus agadi chai I would say production roast र sample roast huncha hamro chai सो स्याम्पल रोस्ट चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ स्मल लट्सहरूको लागि मात्रै गर्छौँ कि स्मल लट्स एज इन लेट्स चाहिँ 500 ग्राम आइरहेछ 1 केजी आइरहेछ त्यो चाहिँ स्याम्पल रोस्टमा गर्छौँ अब स्याम्पल रोस्टमा गर्ने रिजन चाहिँ अब कहिले कहिले नयाँ कफीहरू आइरहेको हुन्छ नयाँ ओरिजिनको कोही कफीहरू इभ्यालुएट गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ त्यो कफी इभ्यालुएट गर्नु बेला चाहिँ धेरै बल्कमा कफी लाइक एक्सपेरिमेन्ट गर्नुभन्दा नि सानो लट्स चाहिँ ट्राई गर्नु चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्छ कि अब गोइङ ओभर प्रोडक्सन रोस्ट भनेको चाहिँ अब धेरै जस्तो हामीले अब हाम्रो मेजर कस्टमर्सहरूलाई क्याफेज रेस्टुरेन्ट्स इन्डिभिजुअल कस्टमर्स उनीहरूलाई सेन्ड गर्नुको लागि चाहिँ प्रोडक्सनमा गर्छौँ विच हामीले चाहिँ ठुलो मेसिन युज गर्छौँ त्यसमा चाहिँ इट गोज अब यस्तै लाइक 7 to 7.5 kg जति गएर हुन्छ अनि द थिङ इज अब प्रोडक्सन रोस्ट र स्याम्पल रोस्टमा चाहिँ अलिकति डिफ्रेन्स चाहिँ हुन्छ स्याम्पल रोस्टमा चाहिँ यु वान अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड द कफी प्रोसेस लाइक कफी कस्तो छ यो ओरिजिनको कफी चाहिँ कस्तो छ भनेर ट्राई गर्नुको लागि कहिले कपिङ रोस्ट लाइक एससिएको कपिङ स्ट्यान्डर्डमा निकाल्छौँ हामीले चाहिँ त्यसमा निकाल्छौँ कहिले हाम्रै मिडियम रोस्ट पनि निकाल्छौँ कि त अलिकति डिफ्रेन्ट लाइक प्रोडक्सन रोस्टमा कुन चाहिँ लेभल युज हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ ट्राई गर्छौँ सो प्रोडक्सन रोस्टमा चाहिँ इट्स अलवेज लाइक प्रिटी मच कन्सिस्टेन्ट सो कन्सिस्टेन्सी चाहिँ मेन्टेन गर्नुपर्छ सो लेट्स से इफ वी आर प्रोभाइडिङ अ मिडियम रोस्टेड कफी फ्रम वान ओरिजिन लेट्स से ओरिजिन ए भनौँ होइन त्यो ओरिजिनको कफी 1 month अगाडि र लेट्स से आज रोस्ट गरेको डिफ्रेन्ट ओरिजिनको कफी दे सुड टेस्ट प्रिटी मच द सेम कि बिकज द थिङ इज प्रोडक्सनमा चाहिँ वाट वी वान फोकस मोस्टली इज इन कन्सिस्टेन्सी सो त्यो चाहिँ रोस्ट प्रोफाइलमा नि भयो रोस्ट लेभलमा नि भयो टेस्टमा नि भयो द्याट्स वाइ वी डु अ लट अफ कपिङ्स अब प्रोडक्सन रोस्ट गऱ्यो त्यसपछि नेक्स्ट डे कप गर्छौँ त्यो कफी चाहिँ सेम छ कि छैन के चेन्ज भइरहेको छ भनेर त्यसमा चाहिँ हेर्छौँ कि सो द मेन थिङ इज प्रोडक्सन रोस्टमा चाहिँ कन्सिस्टेन्सी चाहिँ हामीले मेन प्रायोरिटी चाहिँ राख्छौँ
Now, if I may ask, what kind of roasting profile, what is the standard SOPs of Lekali coffee ko production roast? If you can answer, it's totally fine. I would be more than honored to listen to you.
So roughly चाहिँ भनिदिन्छु होइन सो द थिङ इज हाम्रो रोस्टिङ मेसिन चाहिँ अब वी डोन्ट लाइक ओभरलोडेड ओभरलोड एज इन लाइक जतिको क्यापेसिटी छ त्योभन्दा ओभर चाहिँ जाँदैन हो every monthly चाहिँ deep cleaning नै हुन्छ it's like the chimney gets clean everything gets clean every morning मा चाहिँ all the minor cleaning चाहिँ हुन्छ minor cleaning as in like if everything is greased properly if the के भन्छ chaff is clean chaff collector is cleaned or not if everything is running okay so त्यो चाहिँ गर्छौँ हामीले चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ cleanliness को पार्टमा चाहिँ SOP अब क्वालिटीकै बारेमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ इच ब्याच चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ रेकर्ड गर्छौँ सो इच ब्याचको रोस्ट प्रोफाइल चाहिँ कसरी रोस्ट भएको छ कुन टाइममा चाहिँ कसरी रोस्ट चाहिँ चेन्ज भइरहेछ कलर कहिले चेन्ज भइरहेछ फर्स्ट क्र्याक कहिले भइरहेछ कुन टेम्परेचरमा ड्रप गरिरहेछ टाइम सबै चाहिँ मेजर गर्छौँ कि अनि इट सुड ओभरल्याप सो ओभरल्याप एज इन लाइक अब हिजो गरेको रोस्ट र आज सेम कफी गरेको रोस्ट चाहिँ इट सुड ओभरल्याप there shouldn't be any differences and त्यसपछि चाहिँ what we do is we check it in the roast analyzer अस्ति रोस्टिङ क्लासमा रोस्ट एनालाइजरमा चेक गरेपछि we set up a variance अब जहिले एक्ज्याक्ट पोइन्टमा आउँछ भने it's not possible 100% of the time so एउटा variance चाहिँ सेट गर्छौँ हामीले अब let's say if we're targeting like 50 or 60 त्यसको +-2 +-1 भनेर एउटा सेट गर्छौँ कि हामीले त्यो सेट गरेको रेन्जभित्र छ हुनुपर्छ कि त्यो चाहिँ सो दिस इज द क्वालिटी एस्पेक्ट भनौँ न त्यसपछि हामीले चाहिँ नेक्स्ट डे चाहिँ फेरि त्यही कफी चाहिँ हामीले थोरै स्याम्पल चाहिँ राखेर नेक्स्ट डे चाहिँ हामीले कप गर्छौँ अनि only if it's like good enough we send it off to the customers and we're pretty like on point on that so every batch say similar नै हुन्छ same नै हुन्छ and then we check the aggregaton it's usually like +-1 on what we're targeting.
You know, when you explain about all the records, okay? Right? You talk about a lot of stuff. I'm reacting to बारे में कुरा भयो, कति पेचुजहरु को बारे में कुरा भयो. Is that very necessary? And why is that important?
So important.
You see, I'm sorry, मैले रोकिहालेँ किन भन्दाखेरि so you see, हाम्रो roasting class मा पनि there were a lot of people who didn't have that records and everything. And you spoke about those records. So why is it important? अनि निमादाले नै as a AST उहाँले नि कुरा गर्नु भएको थियो कतिपय चिजहरुको बारेमा डेटाहरु चाहिँ राख्न किन जरुरी छ भन्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ चाहे त्यो म्यानुअल होस् त्यसपछि गएर आर्टिसनमा होस् and everything. Why is it important?
So main कुरा चाहिँ त्यही अब back to the quality. Consistency maintain गर्नुको लागि चाहिँ production side मा चाहिँ त्यो हो अब हाम्रो ब्याच कसरी चेन्ज भइरहेछ कहिले अब इट्स नट अ ड्रास्टिक चेन्ज तर समरमा रोस्ट गरेको र विन्टरमा रोस्ट गरेको you'll see a gradual change के त्यो like बाहिरको ambient environment change हुँदै you'll see the change in the roast as well. अब त्यो चाहिँ तुरुन्तै चाहिँ नदेख्ला तर if you're just comparing summer को mid मा winter को mid मा हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ you'll see that change. So त्यो change चाहिँ धेरै नहोस् just to make sure you're setting on point your quality standard. त्यसको लागि चाहिँ important हुन्छ के. अब sample roast को कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's important to collect all the data because you want to see कुन origin को चाहिँ कस्तो roast भइरहेछ अनि भोलिपर्सि let's say एउटा origin को कफी राम्रो टेस्ट गर्यो भोलिपर्सि you want to replicate the same profile production मा चाहिँ त्यसले चाहिँ help गर्छ कि sample roast मा राम्रो भयो if you don't have the record हैन you're not able to understand how to you're not able to decide how to roast it in the production roaster. So एउटा reason why data collection is important त्यो भन्छु.
Make a lot of sense. तर Norgey, what if कसैसँग sample roast छैन भने? What is the best options?
So best option चाहिँ the thing is if they do have a production roaster अब the thing is if they don't have access अब कोही colleaguesहरू पनि छ यताउता चिन्दैन भने चाहिँ जोसँग चाहिँ sample roaster छैन त्यही productionमा गरेको चाहिँ best हुन्छ. They will be like if the coffee doesn't taste really good they will be wasting some coffees. But the thing is अब कोही चिन्ने मान्छेहरू छ भने or like उता हाम्रो लेकालीमा नि गरिरहेको हुन्छ हामीले चाहिँ different evaluate गरिरहेको हुन्छ green beansहरू roastहरू गरेर cupping गर्छौँ green bean evaluation गर्छौँ. So if you do know anyone or you can come to Lekali as well, I would recommend that. Let's say if you're a production company who is doing a lot of productions, if you are getting a new coffee from a different origin that you're not familiar with, then the sample roast मात्रै गरेको चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्छ.
Do you charge?
We do charge we do charge amount for evaluating coffees.
Definitely you should.
So because there's a lot of work. It's not only like cupping the coffees.
True.
Green grading पनि हुन्छ त्यहाँबाट roast profile generate गर्नको लागि पनि it takes some time. त्यसपछि cupping को लागि पनि time लाग्छ. Cupping पछि I mean roast पछि पनि एउटा roast grading चाहिँ हुन्छ कस्तो coffee छ भनेर. So त्यसमा चाहिँ there's a lot of time. So that's the reason why there's a certain charge on that.
But please make sure that you have a very good beans as well.
True. I remember
please,
that.
Please make sure you have a very good beans. Now, when I'm talking about beans too, not only beans, okay? I'm talking about last stage would beans, so the kind of beans that you showed last time pictures.
I remember.
Oh my God, it's like too much. It's too much.
So I did say like I was gonna roast it, you know. I did end up roasting it, but the thing is, evaluate garnerness. That's why I roasted it. But the thing is, to say I would say processing side ma alikati knowledgeable nabhayera pani ho ki like I feel like naam चाहिँ disclose नगरौँ.
No.
So the thing is parchment green bean provide गरेको थियो उनीहरूले. Green bean मा चाहिँ there was a distinct smell of त्यो के भन्छ आगो firewood को smoke हुन्छ नि त्यसको distinct smell थियो क्या. अब texture मा त it was pretty bad.
Oh my God.
But the thing is there was a distinct firewood को smell.
It was like आदि नै smoky भइसकेको थियो त्यसमा चाहिँ.
Half roast भइसकेको
थियो त्यसमा चाहिँ.
So I feel like what they ended up doing, I didn't ask them about it, but I did suggest them what could be done to make it better. I think what they ended up doing, like what they did is त्यो parchment सुकाउँदाखेरि चाहिँ I think they must have used firewood के firewood मा छिटो सुक्छ भनेर त्यसमा सुकाइदियो. अनि as we all know coffee ले चाहिँ छाउको aromas-हरु चाहिँ मजाले के भन्छ टिप्ने गर्छ. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ smoke को smell चाहिँ ठ्याक्क समाइदियो कि.
This is where we lag behind के हैन यो कुराहरुमा चाहिँ that was maybe we might be saying कि त्यस्तो beans पठाइदियो but the other side we can see that where are we standing when it comes to having knowledge on coffee, right? आदि नै coffee आगोमा firewood मा सुकाउने प्रयास गर्नु and having you know I've met some people जहाँ चाहिँ उहाँहरूले चाहिँ you know चेरीलाई हातले मुसेर डिमिसलाइज गरिदिनु त्यो कुराहरू सानो लटमा हैन ठुलै लट्सहरुमा चाहिँ अनि they do not have the idea कि यस्तो हामीसँग machines पनि छ जहाँ चाहिँ डिमिसलाइज गर्ने कामहरू गर्छ भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ. Now this is really sad to see all of these factors as well. Now, we were talking about roasting as well. Well, coming back to the production side, can't we, follow the log that we have had पहिला नै र त्यसलाई नै follow गर्यो भने चाहिँ हरेक batchमा चाहिँ will we have the similar consistency or not?
So
Because I'm sorry, production side मा किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ same consumer लाई चाहिँ will be selling lot of coffees, number one. But the kind of coffee that we basically get, किनकि सबैजनाले आफैले produce चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्न क्या अरे. They source the coffee from different places, and those coffees are and they are not same at all. That's gonna be one of the problems. So following the log, the same log that we have had, यो फलानो क्याफेटेरियामा गइरहेछ त्यहाँ गएको कफी चाहिँ यस्तो खालको थियो. Will that make sense?
So let me see. From what I understand, like different origin को coffee चाहिँ same profile follow किन गर्न मिल्दैन?
Yes.
So
can we do it or not भन्ने क्वेशन्सहरुमा
गर्नु त मिल्छ. Like
now when it comes to samples, कतिजना मान्छेको sampling गर्न मिल्दैन नि त. अब सबैजना मान्छे तपाईको एक्सेस पनि नहोला. But तपाईकोमा नआइकन if they have a production हुन्छ नि roaster अनि आफैले के गर्न मिल्छ र त्यही प्रोडक्सनलाई युज गरेर त्यो रोस्टरलाई युज गरेर if they can improve the quality, what is the best possible ways क्या मैले सोध्न खोजेको छ त्यही.
So best possible ways चाहिँ अब if they don't have access to a sample roaster, अब त्यही अघि मैले मेन्सन गरेको जस्तो प्रोडक्सन रोस्टर मात्र छ, स्याम्पल रोस्टर भएको मान्छे चिन्ने पनि छैन भन्यो भने चाहिँ I would recommend अब जति चाहिँ स्मल ब्याच चाहिँ सक्छ प्रोडक्सन रोस्टमा युज गर्ने, अलिकति अब स्याम्पल रोस्टमा रोस्ट गरेको भन्दा दे विल बी युजिङ मोर ग्रिन बिन्स ड्युरिङ द्याट एक्सपेरिमेन्टल फेज. द्याट वुड बी द बेस्ट वे भनौँ. तर द थिङ इज सेम प्रोफाइल फलो गर्नु चाहिँ आई वुडन्ट रेकमेन्ड इफ यु वान्ट द सेम टेस्ट प्रोफाइल. बिकज कहिले कहिले सेम ओरिजिनकै ग्रिन बिन्स सेम लटकै छ भने पनि let's say you're ordering like 200 kgs of green bean, you're not going to be roasting it like everything on the same day. Like ek hafta bhitar sakinदैन नि त, like for some people. So the thing is storage गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ even though it's stored in a really good condition, grain proof भित्रै राखेको छ भने पनि let's say like 1 month पछि बाहिरको ह्युमिडिटी अति धेरै बढेर आयो, पानी मजाले परिरहेछ, घाम पनि मजाले लागिरहेछ, त्यो केसमा चाहिँ त्यो ह्युमिडिटीले गर्दाखेरि मोइस्चर कन्टेन्ट बढ्छ कि. मोइस्चर कन्टेन्ट बढ्दाखेरि अब डे 1 मा रोस्ट गरेको कफी 60-90 डेज पछि अर्कै तरिकाले रोस्ट हुन्छ क्या. अनि यु क्यान सी द्याट अन द रोस्ट प्रोफाइल एज वेल. अनि इफ युर माइन्ड सेट इज सेट अन म त यही प्रोफाइल फलो गर्छु भन्ने विचारमा छ भने चाहिँ कफी झार्ने बित्तिकै लेट्स से इफ युर रेकर्डिङ इट इन द आर्टिजन, कफी चार्ज गर्ने बित्तिकै इफ इट्स नट फलोइङ द सेम प्रोफाइल त्यसपछि अनि what are you gonna do भन्ने हुन्छ, आतिनु सुरु गर्छ. द्याट्स वाइ आई वुड रेकमेन्ड लाइक सानो ब्याच चाहिँ एउटा के भन्छ स्याम्पल चाहिँ ट्राई गर्ने. बेस्ट वुड बी स्याम्पल रोस्टर. अब इफ यु डोन्ट हेभ एक्सेस टु अ स्याम्पल रोस्टर or if you don't know anyone who has a sample roaster, प्रोडक्सन रोस्टमा सकेसम्म एउटा मिनिमम लाइक जति कम सक्छ त्यति चाहिँ रोस्ट गरेर ट्राई गर्नु चाहिँ I would recommend.
I think that would be a very good idea for the people who do not have the sample roast as well. Now, coming back to you as a roaster, consumer side में हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ how often do you talk to your consumer? Now, it's not the cafe consumer but the actual consumer, okay? जसले चाहिँ कन्ज्युम गर्नुहुन्छ कस्टमर्सहरू.
सो क्याफेकै कस्टमर्सहरू
पाइन्छ त्यो चान्सेसहरू हुन्छ जहाँ चाहिँ you can talk to the consumer and talk about your roasting. And we're going to come back to the cafe consumer as well, but right, real consumer say.
So real consumer as in like
cafe में गएर खाने वाला individual consumer. Do you ever have it,
So उनीहरूसँग चाहिँ कन्ट्याक्ट चाहिँ कमै हुन्छ. The reason being अब उनीहरूले फिडब्याक दिने नै क्याफेलाई नै हो. सो मोस्टली चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ क्याफेसँग नै इन्टरेक्ट गरेर हुन्छ प्रोडक्सन साइडमा चाहिँ. अनि इट अल्सो सिम्स अ बिट टिडियस. अब त्यही क्याफेकै कस्टमरसँग फिडब्याक माग्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's a bit tedious पनि भनौँ न for the customer themselves. Like usually people just want to come, order something, then leave. They don't want to like evaluate the coffees.
True.
So if it's good, they say it's good. If it's not good, then they tell it to the cafes. त्यस्तो हुन्छ नि त. So each and every aspect सोध्नुको लागि चाहिँ it's a bit tedious. So that's why we're mostly like interacting with the cafes or restaurants.
The reason I'm asking you कुराहरु चाहिँ किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ I see roaster as a chef. Kitchen मा काम गर्नुहुन्छ, but they did not talk to the consumer directly. At certain point of time, जहाँ चाहिँ reviews हरू आउँछ, what kind of people needs what kind of coffee and roasting profile matters a lot. And जुन mediators छ नि, जहाँ चाहिँ cafe को management हुन्छ, coffee shop को management हुन्छ, sometimes there might be some kind of miscommunications where we cannot get that nod just the last game मलाई चाहिँ. So there might be a lot of ways of communicating त्यो कुराहरु चाहिँ, for example, filling up a form जहाँ चाहिँ they are giving the reviews on how do they find the coffees and what they are expecting out of the coffees or त्यो कुराहरु भयो भने maybe that can help the roastery as well. यो बेसमा चाहिँ or else कस्तो हुन्छ like किन why am I saying this stuff and किन मैले तपाईले चाहिँ consumer सँग कतिको कुरा गर्नुहुन्छ भन्ने कारण चाहिँ किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ see I have a cafe, you know, customer ले हाम्रो उसलाई के रे baristaलाई complain गर्नुहुन्छ, baristaलाई example baristaलाई complain गर्नुहुन्छ and baristaले he or she does not understand properly and they just gonna say यो roast भएन.
That makes sense. Okay.
हैन यो roast भएन भनेर कस्टमरले कम्प्लेन गर्यो. अब यहाँ के आउँछ भन्दाखेरि the roasting is the problem. You see, but the consumer might be saying something else.
True.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
I see.
The key point of time as a roaster, if you could talk to the consumer, not in talk like गएर बोल्ने होइन कि, but then if we can find out a way जहाँ चाहिँ what is the exact thing that the consumer wants, जहाँ चाहिँ you can work on the majority of the consumer wants, जहाँ चाहिँ recordले देखाउँछ नि त्यसमा चाहिँ, that might help a lot of roaster to come up with a very good cup profile जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ.
So as you mentioned अहिले चाहिँ नेपालको coffee industry चाहिँ बिस्तारै grow हुँदैछ. So not everybody is aware about like how what the coffee needs to taste like or what the coffee can taste like or what the coffee is tasting like भनौँ न. So त्यो aspect मा चाहिँ most of the customers I believe it's like they like a certain roast level, roast profile and the extraction recipe. Espresso को बारेमा मात्र भनौँ because it makes it much easier. Espressos, Americanos, milk based मा गयो it's a bit very like another vast topic भनौँ. So त्यसमा मात्र कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's हामीले चाहिँ एउटा roast level चाहिँ recommend गर्छौँ cafesहरूलाई.
And what is that?
We recommend medium. Medium we have our agrotone मै भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ there's a specific number we target. So त्यो roast profile र roast level मा follow गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we अब नयाँ cafe आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ we provide a sample to them. A sample provide गरेपछि which roast profile they like, which roast level they like. त्यो aspect मा चाहिँ we let them decide. Like we don't say this is a better coffee, this is what you need to take. I would say the same thing अब त्यो cafe को customer को बारेमा भन्यो भने चाहिँ as a roaster you mentioned like you compared it to a chef. दुईटा ठाउँ छ कि अब भन्यो भने चाहिँ there's one place where people want to try new coffees, like different coffees, coffee को possibility के छ, taste कस्तो आउन सक्छ. And there's another like customer base who just wants like coffee in the morning. Cafe जहिले चिनिरहेको cafe मा गयो, like drink the coffee, go to work or maybe just like hang around with friends. त्यो छ कि. So the thing is the people who want to experiment, I want to try different coffee flavors, let's say they actually want to learn or like know more about what coffee can taste like. It's much more easier like explaining them, and interacting with them is easier easier and better because they want to learn, and that's why they're there. Let's say if we're conducting a cupping session, like we're putting like 6 to 12 like different process, different roast profiles on the cup. They actually want to learn. So let's say they're gonna be interested themselves, but the customer base who just wants like coffee in the morning, cafe मा गएपछि जहिले गइरहेको cafe मा जान्छ, खाएर आउँछ, त्यसपछि they go to work or maybe they just come to the cafe to hang around with friends. उनीहरुसँग चाहिँ अब मैले सोधेको छैन किन भनेको यसले भन्ने खालको पनि हुन्छ कि, like if we start like explaining more about coffee. So I hopefully like that answers the question. Is that okay?
किनकि you know I really feel like there was point of time जहाँ चाहिँ अहिले पो most of the baristas they understand the processing, most of the baristas they understand what actually the roasting profile they have been drinking as well or they are serving in a cafeteria as well. But there are point of times when I started as a barista, I was the one person who always used to blame the roaster. Okay? And cases हुने बित्तिकै आज कफी राम्रो छैन, कफी कालो छ, कफी अलिकति सेतो आयो, है मेरो त क्रिमै झरेको छैन, ए बडी नै क्रिममा झर्यो. Now this is the हुन्छ नि, and that's where the roaster having hard time to understand what these consumer actually wants. किनकि half information ले as a roaster you keep on working on a lot of things. सानो सानो tweaks हरु, सानो सानो कुराहरु, and you basically तपाईको पार्टबाट चाहिँ like the way you ask us me हुन्छ नि, सबैजनालाई कति बेठामा चाहिँ हामीलाई सोधिराख्नुहुन्छ कस्तो छ कन्ज्युमरले कस्तो मागिरहेको हुन्छ. I see प्रणित दाइले निमा दाइले कति point of time सोधिरहला क्याफेटेरियामा what kind of consumer that you basically have. And it's going to be very hard. It's going to give you a very hard time to the roaster to figure out the right that point जहाँ चाहिँ they are happy. Again के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ 1-2 महिना ठीक हुन्छ, 3-4 महिनामा फेरि के जान्छ, you have certain complaints.
So let's say like 3-4 महिनाको पहिला एड्रेस गरौँ. Like त्यसमा चाहिँ back to consistency. That's the main thing. The coffee, roasted coffee needs to be consistent. So अर्को thing is in like अब there's 3 units in act भनौँ न. क्याफेको कस्टमर भयो, क्याफे भयो अनि रोस्टरी भयो. सो तीनटा हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्टमर इज किङ भन्छ नि जहिले. सो बिचमा चाहिँ अब जस्ट टेकिङ दोज 3 इन्टु फ्याक्टर. देयर्स द फाइनल कस्टमर, देयर्स द क्याफे, देयर्स द रोस्टरी. सो बरिस्टाको वर्क चाहिँ दे निड टु नो अ लट अबाउट कफी क्या. कफी लाइक एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्ने मात्र भनेर चाहिँ हुँदैन. दे निड टु बी एबल टु लाइक they need to learn the language भनौँ न, not just about like drinks भनौँ, तर कफीको टेस्टहरूको बारेमा, कफीको रोस्ट प्रोफाइलको बारेमा, रोस्ट लेभलको बारेमा त्यो चाहिँ जान्नु चाहिँ इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ कि. त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ what they're able to do is कस्टमरले let's say कस्टमरलाई त अब सबै थाहा हुँदैन नि, लाइक यो कफी कस्तो टेस्ट आइरहेछ भनेर मिठो छैन भनिदिन्छ होइन. तर मिठो छैन भने चाहिँ त्यो बरिस्टाले चाहिँ बुझ्नु सक्नु पऱ्यो कि कुन रूपमा मिठो छैन भनेर. त्यसपछि त्यो कुरा चाहिँ यता रोस्टरीमा कम्युनिकेट गर्न सक्नु पऱ्यो क्या. So if the barista is able to like understand the customer and the coffee itself, they're able to tell the roaster यस्तो भएको रहेछ, actually फेरि के भएको रहेछ, can we do a different roast profile, different roast level भन्न सकिन्छ कि.
Now यही कुरामा छ नि Norgey, I want to ask you how much the cafe barista gives you the tough time.
So sometimes there are tough times भनौँ. अब
You have been complaining most of the time. तपाईँले मलाई भन्नुहुन्छ नि दाइ क्यालिब्रेसन नै आउँदैन टोलीहरूलाई, युजर प्रब्लम हुन्छ. And this is where they are giving a very tough time. किनकि that's not your job नि त, right?
So I wouldn't say all the baristas. There are some of them. उनीहरूले चाहिँ कफी एक्सप्रेसो एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्नु चाहिँ सिकिरहेको हुन्छ कि. तर पहिला एउटा डायलमा राखिदिन्छ, डायल एज इन लाइक द ग्राइन्ड साइज. ग्राइन्ड साइजमा राखेपछि उनीहरूलाई चेन्ज गर्नु चाहिँ देयर अफ्रेड के. खास गरी भन्ने हो भने चाहिँ यु निड टु एटलिस्ट लाइक डायल इट वन्स इन द मर्निङ होइन. बेस्ट चाहिँ लाइक 3 times a day गऱ्यो भने चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्छ. लाइक मर्निङ बरिस्ता स्कुलमा लाइक मर्निङमा अब कफी त्यो एक्सप्रेसो मेसिन हिट हुँदाखेरि इट्स गोना एक्सट्र्याक्ट डिफ्रेन्टली. तात्दै गएपछि मेसिन तात्दै जान्छ. इट्स गोना एक्सट्र्याक्ट डिफ्रेन्टली फ्रम वाट ह्यापन इन द मर्निङ टाइम. फेरि इभिनिङ टाइममा आउँदाखेरि इट्स गोना गेट इभन मोर हटर. त्यो बेला चाहिँ फेरि डिफ्रेन्टली नै एक्सट्र्याक्ट हुन्छ. सो त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ खास गरी भन्ने हो भने चाहिँ डायल गर्दै बरिस्ता आफूले चाख्दै यही मेरो टेस्ट चाहिँ हो कि होइन, यो मैले कस्टमरलाई सर्भ गर्ने कफी चाहिँ यही टेस्ट हो कि होइन भनेर उनीहरूले चाहिँ क्यालिब्रेट चाहिँ गर्नुपर्ने हो खास गरी. सो के भन्छ अलिकति सम बरिस्टासहरू चाहिँ डराउँदो रहेछ कि क्याफेजहरूको, मेबी अलि नयाँ भएर पनि हुनसक्छ.
अल्सो द अदर पार्ट होइन, मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ बरिस्टा डराउने पनि भयो मोस्ट प्रब्ली अघि. Or maybe they might not have the idea what calibration is all about, right? The other side is the coffee shop as well. Because coffee shops say they are very much afraid about the cost of goods. So let's say inventories are mathi jancha bhanera, so they're pretty much afraid. And in case naya barista la tha bhayena भने चाहिँ they'll be spending huge amount of coffee. They calibrate गर्दा idea नै नभइकन त्यसले चाहिँ के अरे उहाँहरूले चाहिँ एकदमै धेरै मात्रामा के अरे एक्सट्र्याक्सन्स बिगारेर कफी वेस्ट गर्छ. अनि जसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ ओनर म्यानेजमेन्टले चाहिँ अलिकति गाली गर्ने काम गर्छ. I think as a management they need to understand they have to let the barista work on the calibration side. They have to have that idea जहाँ चाहिँ baristaले calibration जहिले नै दिनको 3 चोटि होस् 4 चोटि होस् कसरी impact पार्छ र how come they can control the quality of their coffee shops. किनकि this is, you want a very good quality coffee to be served in a coffee shop, but then you don't want your barista to calibrate your espresso machines or extractions. हुँदै भएन नि अगाडि भात ल्याइदिएर हात समातेर ल भात खा भने जस्तो भयो. It's not even making any sense. So to all the coffee shops, owner or maybe a management team, if you guys are listening to this, please make sure that your barista, knows calibration banale kiyo, and they at least are doing the calibration, and they have that records as well. Let me give you a very good story on hamroma pani bhanam na katipai point of time ma chai not having a record ko initial stage ko problems jaha chai hamro cafeteria ma chai they used to calibrate the espressos and everything. तर कस्तो हुने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ बिर्सिने के कतिमा एक्सट्र्याक्सन्स गरेर थियो कुन नटमा थियो किनकि दे आर प्रिटी मच बिजी इन क्याफेटेरियामा अनि 2-3 चोटि क्यालिब्रेट गर्दाखेरि अगाडिको भन्दैन पछिको भन्दैन. सो व्हाट वी डिड, वी स्टार्टेड युजिङ अ टाइम रेकर्ड, मेबी अ भिडियोस अथवा मेबी एउटा इन्फर्मेसन सोर्स. दे निड टु सेन्ड अस क्यालिब्रेसन यतिमा गरे हो यसरी गरेको हो, सो द्याट दे क्यान एटलिस्ट फिगर इट आउट अनि दे क्यान वर्क अन इट एन्ड दे क्यान कम अप विथ अ भेरी गुड स्ट्यान्डर्ड्स एज वेल. But still they also find it very much challenging किनकि कतिपय point of time मा डर लागिरहेको हुन्छ नि त, भइरहेकै छैन अब जति गरे पनि गाली भइरहेको हुन्छ भन्ने कुराहरू आउँछन्. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ च्यालेन्ज हुन्छ बरिस्तालाई पनि. बट एज अ म्यानेजमेन्ट आई थिङ्क वी निड टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड यो फ्याक्टरमा अनि वी अल्सो निड टु मेक स्योर द्याट वी गिभ अलिकति लिवे, अलिकति हात छोडिदिनुपर्छ जहाँ चाहिँ बरिस्ताले चाहिँ यदि तपाईँको कफीको क्वालिटी, क्याफेको कफीको क्वालिटी मेन्टेन गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ यु एटलिस्ट निड टु मेक स्योर your barista let them do their job. नत्र गाह्रो हुन्छ. वाह.
सो थिङ इज अब धेरै कफी पनि वेस्ट हुँदैन. लेट्स से अब नयाँ कफी नयाँ रोस्ट्रीबाट मगाइरहेको छ भने चाहिँ अलिकति नयाँ नै हुन्छ. इफ देयर एक्सपिरियन्स बरिस्ता अब यस्तै लाइक 2-3 एक्सट्र्याक्सनमै क्यालिब्रेट गर्न सकिन्छ.
द्याट इज द मेन पोइन्ट बिकज मोस्ट अफ द बरिस्तालाई नयाँ बरिस्ताहरू भइरहेको हुन्छ नि त उहाँहरूको चाहिँ, अनि क्यालिब्रेसन्स पनि
अब त्यही नयाँ भयो भने पनि लेट्स से इभन इफ इट टेक्स लाइक 10 क्यालिब्रेसन्स 10 ट्राइज टु गेट द कफी क्यालिब्रेटेड राइट. द थिङ इज लाइक नेक्स्ट टाइम चाहिँ धेरै क्यालिब्रेट गर्नु पर्दैन कि. लाइक फर्स्ट नयाँ प्याकेट आउने बेला चाहिँ अलिक गाह्रो होला तर पछि चाहिँ गाह्रो हुँदैन कि. सो द थिङ इज अब त्यसमा चाहिँ अलिकति सजिलो बनाउनुको लागि चाहिँ वाट वी अल्सो डु इज एउटा रेसिपी चाहिँ प्रोभाइड गर्छौँ. लाइक डबल सटको लागि चाहिँ यो रोस्ट प्रोफाइल यो रोस्ट लेभलको लागि चाहिँ यो चाहिँ रेकमेन्ड गर्छौँ. यति कफी हाल्ने, यति कफी झार्ने, यति टाइममा भनेर एउटा रेसिपी चाहिँ प्रोभाइड गर्छौँ. अब द्याट्स द रेकमेन्डेड वान. त्यही नै युज गर्नुपर्छ, यही नै सबभन्दा राम्रो हो भन्ने चाहिँ होइन.
यो चाहिँ तपाईँले आफूले रिसर्च गरेर बनाउनु भएको.
यस, यो चाहिँ
having perks of taking barista training from Barista's Coffee School.
सो एक्सट्र्याक्सन्स पनि धेरै गऱ्यो र रोस्टिङ भर्खर सुरु गर्दाखेरि
आई नो
एक्सट्र्याक्सन्स धेरै गऱ्यो. अब इच ब्याचको रेकर्ड राखेर एभ्री ब्याचलाई एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्दै डेटा कलेक्ट चाहिँ गरेको थियो कि. सो नाउ लाइक आई हेभ इट अन द फोन. एउटा इक्वेसन जस्तो इट्स नट अ एक्ज्याक्ट इक्वेसन भनौँ तर रफ इक्वेसन जस्तो छ. त्यसमै प्लट गऱ्यो भने चाहिँ आई क्यान फाइन्ड आउट रफ एस्टिमेट अफ यो कफीको यो प्रोफाइल यो रोस्ट लेभल छ भने चाहिँ कस्तो तरिकाले एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ बेटर आउँछ, राम्रो आउनु सक्छ भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा राख्छ कि.
त्यो इक्वेसन पनि आफैले बनायो होला होइन.
यस.
Perks of being a science student. Sorry. Now you see why I call Norgey a nerd, because this guy is very crazy. Too much science which goes out of my mind. But this makes a lot of work easier. I think initial stage it's going to be pretty much hard. For me it's going to be very hard because I cannot get into science and it's going to be pretty much मेरो हातको कुरै हैन यो कुराहरु चाहिँ. But it does make a lot of sense.
So the thing is अब साइन्स नले पनि एक्सट्र्याक्सन त राम्रो गर्न सक्छ क्या. अब त्यही फर्मुलाको बारेमा कुरा गर्ने हो भने तर अब भन्ने हो भने योले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मेरो टार्गेट चाहिँ कहाँ छ भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा देख्नु चाहिँ सजिलो पार्छ क्या.
So do you work on your roast profile looking after that app as well? For example, मलाई यति खालको एक्सट्र्याक्सन्सहरु चाहियो, यस्तो खालको चाहिँ म मेरा कुनै पनि मेबी क्याफेटेरियाले भन्ला मेरो स्ट्यान्डर्ड ब्रुइङ टाइमिङ चाहिँ यति हो, but I'm not getting these stuff, I want this kind of profiles-हरु. Do you work on that?
टेस्टको एस्पेक्टमा?
टेस्टको एस्पेक्टमा yes, I must say.
सो टेस्टको एस्पेक्टमा नै वर्क गर्छु. त्यही हिसाबले चाहिँ मैले त्यो डेटा कलेक्ट गरेर इक्वेसन चाहिँ बनाएको हो. It's not going to be exactly the same every time. अब if it's a very experienced like curator like coffee खाइरहेको धेरै अब कफी कन्सोर जस्तो भयो भने पनि they might be able to like find out the minor differences between two different origins or two different batches. भोलिपछि hopefully cup tastes मा हेरौँ who has a very good palate भनेर.
ओहो हिन्दी हाल्यो.
Oh no, it's secret though. So the thing is it's gonna help. It's gonna help you see the target. क्या अब मेरो point चाहिँ यहाँ हो. अब the thing is नयाँ barista छ भने चाहिँ कफी चाहिँ कस्तो टेस्ट हुनुपर्छ यही नै हो कि हैन अब आतिन्छ नि त. So if you give them a target दियो भने चाहिँ at least they can aim at that direction and target that नि त. Whereas like target खोजेर आफै हान अनि मिठो बनाऊ भने चाहिँ they are a bit lost क्या. Like they might take like 20 extractions.
Makes sense.
Whereas अब एउटा target दियो भने चाहिँ let's say 5 extractions मा they'll be able to like get that extraction done. अनि कफी चाहिँ यस्तो रहेछ मेरो कस्टमरले चाहिँ अलिकति यस्तो खोजिरहेको छ अलिकति चेन्ज गर्नु पर्यो यही रेकमेन्ड गरेको रेसिपी त्यो वेमा चाहिँ प्रोसिड गर्न सकिन्छ कि.
युजुअली कन्ज्युमरले क्याफेटेरियामा कस्तो खालको चाहिँ प्रब्लम्सहरू बनिरहेको हुन्छ. The similar kind of, you don't have to mention everything, but mostly people gonna say it every point of time.
So
you know that it's coming भन्ने खालको.
So त्यस्तो धेरै चाहिँ हुँदैन तर आयो भने चाहिँ अब मेनली लाइक लास्ट कस्टमरले चाहिँ के भन्छ भनेपछि अब एन्ड कस्टमरले चाहिँ जस्ट अब कफी मिठो छैन नै भनिरहेको हुन्छ क्या. अब लेट्स
कफी मिठो छैन
बिकज अब एज आई मेन्सन लाइक मेनी पिपल जस्ट वान ड्रिङ्क द कफी लाइक बिहान खाएपछि they want to go to work or they just want to hang around with the friends family in the cafeteria and they want to drink the same coffee that they've tried. So उनीहरुको चाहिँ अब if they have been drinking the same coffee for a long time they'll be able to say अलिकति तितो छ अलिकति अमिलो छ अलिकति पातलो छ त्यो चाहिँ भन्नु चाहिँ सक्छ तर मोस्टली चाहिँ अब कफी मिठो छैन नै भनिरहेको छ कि. त्यो कफी मिठो छैन भने चाहिँ अब बरिस्ताले चाहिँ कुन तरिकाले मिठो नभएको मेरो कफी किन हिजोको जस्तो एक्सट्र्याक्ट नभएको मेरो एक्सट्र्याक्सनमा प्रब्लम हो कि मेरो मेसिन के भन्छ मेसिनमा के प्रब्लम हो कि रोस्टरीमै गएर भन्नुपर्ने हो कि त्यो साइड चाहिँ हेर्नुपर्छ कि.
Good. It's a very nice one. All right, welcome back.
Welcome back everybody.
I hope you guys are not bored.
अलिकति एड हाल्छु म कि.
Okay.
Barista's Coffee School को mug order गर्नु होला.
No. यति भए पुग्छ त्यो भन्दा बढी चाहिदैन. लेखालीको कफी अर्डर गर्नु होला.
Yes.
I want to ask Norgey, what are the things that one has to understand as a roaster when it comes to roasting room को बारेमा? Because I've been to a lot of places जहाँ चाहिँ roasting room राम्रोसित केयर गरेको हुँदैन. त्यहाँको ambient temperature भयो, त्यहाँको humidityहरू भयो, यो कुराहरू चाहिँ कति मात्रामा ख्याल गर्नुपर्छ. Could you please explain that? And if you can go अलिकति deep यसमा, that would be great.
So roasting room कै बारेमा भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब एउटा organizational structure पनि राम्रो हुनुपर्छ. So there's no like intrusions. अब अघि हामीले chef को कुरा गरिहालौँ. अब किचनमै काम गर्दाखेरि पनि अब सिङ्क यता छ ग्यास यता छ त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ देयर इज अ बिट अफ अ मेस अप नि त. लाइक यहाँ जानुपर्छ त्यहाँ जानुपर्छ. एउटा वर्क फ्लो स्मुथ बनाउनको लागि चाहिँ इट्स मच बेटर इफ इट्स अर्गनाइज इन अ गुड वे क्या. त्यो चाहिँ अर्गनाइज चाहिँ गुड वे चाहिँ कुन हो चाहिँ आई क्यानट टेल एक्ज्याक्टली. त्यो चाहिँ रुम हेरेर कहाँ चाहिँ के प्लेस गर्नुपर्छ त्यो नै हेर्नुपर्छ.
डिपेन्ड्स अन योर लेआउट एज वेल.
अब आफ्नो पर्सनल लेआउट कस्तो छ भनेर त्यहाँ हेर्नुपर्छ. सो थिङ इज अब क्लिन त हुनैपर्छ definitely clean the
I learned that
not only the room I mean not only the roasting machine but the room as well because कोही अब कहिले चाहिँ प्याकेजिङ पनि त्यही भइरहेको हुन्छ. You don't want any like foreign objects coming into the roasted coffee in the final product. Like if you're focusing on quality like धेरै क्वान्टिटीमा चाहिँ नबनाउला तर still क्वालिटी चाहिँ राम्रो बनाउनु पर्छ भन्ने विचारले सबै चेक चाहिँ गरेर राख्नुपर्छ. सो रोस्टिङ रुम चाहिँ अलिक क्लिन नै हुनुपर्छ. अब इन डेप्थ भन्नाले अब इन वान एस्पेक्ट भनौँ न.
Yes, like the ambient temperature.
So ambient temperature RH चाहिँ you do need to keep those in track. The reason being त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ धेरै इफेक्ट हुन्छ कि. लेट्स से त्यसले गर्दा फर्स्ट थिङ त ग्रिन बिनमै इफेक्ट हुनसक्छ. इफ यु नट स्टोरिङ अब कफी राम्रोसँग स्टोर भएको छैन भने ग्रेन प्रोमा राम्रोसँग स्टोर भएको छैन राम्रोसँग प्याक छैन भने हिजो रोस्ट गरेको कफी घाम लागिरहेछ राति पानी पर्यो भुइँ तातिरहेको हुन्छ त्यो मोइस्चर ह्युमिडिटी बढ्छ कफीले ठ्याक्क टिपिहाल्छ भोलि रोस्ट गर्दाखेरि 10% मोइस्चरमा रोस्ट गरिरहेको कफी 11-12तिर पुगिदिनु सक्छ क्या सो त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ इफेक्ट हुन्छ तर रोस्टिङकै बारेमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ धेरै चाहिँ इफेक्ट चाहिँ हुँदैन बिकज अब डे टु डे एम्बियन्ट टेम्परेचरहरू धेरै चाहिँ चेन्ज हुँदैन नि त रोस्ट गरिरहेको बेला टिपिकली what I say is like फर्स्ट ब्याच गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अलिकति डिफ्रेन्ट चाहिँ हुन्छ फर्स्ट ब्याच गर्दाखेरि अब हाम्रो एक्सप्रेसो मसिन तताउने जस्तो गरेर फर्स्टमा चाहिँ रोस्टिङ मसिन हिटअप भइसकेपछि इट्स नट अब मजाले अब 100% तातेको छ भने पनि एज द रोस्ट गोज अन मेसिन चाहिँ अझै तात्दै जान्छ नि सो त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ युल निड टु किप एभ्रिथिङ अन ट्र्याक भनौँ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एम्बियन्ट टेम्परेचर नि बढ्छ ह्युमिडिटी चाहिँ युजली घटिरहेको हुन्छ एज एम्बियन्ट लाइक टेम्परेचर गोज अप सो तिनीहरू चाहिँ याद गर्नुपर्छ
दिस मेक्स लट अफ सेन्स किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यु सी मोस्ट अफ द पिपल दे डु नट दे हेभ अ भेरी गुड इन्भेस्टमेन्ट अन द रोस्टिङ मेसिन्स बट घर यु नो रुमको स्ट्रक्चर्स द लेआउट इट्स प्रिटी मच मेसी अनि त्यति बेसी केयर गरिने कामहरू गर्दैन सो पिपल हु डु नट ह्याभ दि आइडिया कसरी चाहिँ त्यो कुराहरू चाहिँ मेन्टेन गर्नुपर्छ दे निड टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड त्यो रुमको एम्बियन्सहरू पनि चाहे त्यो सरसफाइको बारेमा होस् अथवा रुमको टेम्परेचरको बारेमा होस् द वे यु मेन्सन कि कसरी एउटा वेदर चेन्जले गर्दाखेरि धेरै मात्रामा इम्प्याक्ट पर्ने कामहरू गर्छ दिस इज सम वान roasting the coffees they should definitely understand or maybe the people who is taking care of the place they need to understand your kuraharu chai
so again like back to data collection this is where data collection is going to be very helpful for roasters or like anybody in the coffee industry or any other sectors pani bhanau na जति डेटा कलेक्ट गर्यो कफीले चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्टली रोस्ट भइरहेछ भने मेरो के कारणले डिफ्रेन्टली रोस्ट भइरहेछ लेट्स से हिट अप्लायन्स पनि सेम नै छ एयर फ्लो कन्ट्रोल पनि सेम नै छ कफी पनि हिजोकै हो मोइस्चर पनि राम्रै छ तर के कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मेरो डिफ्रेन्ट आइरहेछ भन्ने चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट फिगर आउट गर्न सक्छु कि सो डेटा कलेक्सन चाहिँ प्रब्लम लाइक ट्याकल गर्नुमा चाहिँ इट्स भेरी हेल्पफुल लेट्स से सम न्यू प्रब्लम अराइजेस इट्स अ डिफ्रेन्ट प्रब्लम द्याट यु हेभ नेभर एक्सपिरियन्स अब डेटा छैन भने त हिजो के गरेको थियो कफी त यस्तो पो आएछ भनेर हुन्छ नि त you don't know that data like you don't know what the reason is that the coffee is tasting that way but the data collection cha bhane chai I can go back and see my roast profile I can cup it again I can see the aggregates on kati thiyo roast level kasto thiyo roast profile kasto thiyo temperature ambient temperature kasto thiyo humidity kasto thiyo kun chai coffee roast garyo त्यो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ then you'll be able to easily figure out like के चाहिँ मिलेको हैन रहेछ अनि कसरी चाहिँ मिलाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने चाहिँ थाहा हुन्छ कि त्यहाँबाट
सो फर द बिगिनर रोस्टर हु इज रियली आर इन्ट्रेस्टेड or may have that facilitiesहरू भर्खर maybe couple of years भनौँ न how are they supposed to know or let's say how are they supposed to keep track of these things where they should start कहाँबाट चाहिँ स्टार्ट गर्दा सजिलो हुन्छ
सो आई वोन्ट से एउटा ठाउँ यहीबाट चाहिँ स्टार्ट गरेर चाहिँ भन्दिनँ हैन
बट मेन पोइन्ट चाहिँ दिस इज समथिङ द्याट यु रियली निड टु फोकस जहाँ चाहिँ सबैले त्यहाँ चाहिँ मिस गरिरहेको हुन्छ क्या वेयर पिपल डु नट टेक केयर अफ द्याट स्टफ टु मच
सो आई वुड से इफ यु स्टार्टिङ अफ एज अ न्यू रोस्टर अनि इफ यु डोन्ट नो अ लट अफ अबाउट रोस्टिङ इटसेल्फ एउटा ब्याक टु कन्सिस्टेन्सी चाहिँ मेन्टेन गर्नुपर्छ लेट्स से कफी नराम्रो टेस्ट गरिरहेको छ क्या you should be able to repeat that नराम्रो टेस्ट गर्ने कफी बिकज ओन्ली देन राम्रो प्रोफाइल भयो राम्रो कफी टेस्ट गरेको छ भने चाहिँ you'll be able to repeat that let's say आज नराम्रो आयो भोलि राम्रो आयो फेरि त्यही अर्को ब्याचमा नराम्रो आयो त्यो भने त इट्स नट गोना बी कन्सिस्टेन्ट एन्ड यु आर नट गोना बी एबल टु सी वाट्स चेन्जिङ के गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कफी चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्टली टेस्ट आइरहेछ त्यो चाहिँ थाहा हुँदैन कि बट लेट्स से इफ यु कन्सिस्ट अब I wouldn't recommend this for a long run. But let's say you're roasting a bad profile coffee भनौँ न त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ you'll be able to see प्रोफाइलमा यो मिस्टेक हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ कफी चाहिँ कस्तो टेस्ट हुँदो रहेछ भन्ने चाहिँ एक्सपिरियन्स चाहिँ पाउँछ कि अब इफ युर नट लाइक एक्सपिरियन्स अब रोस्टिङ क्लासहरू लिएको छ भने चाहिँ you'll be able to taste those roasting defectsहरू बेक्ड कफीहरू कस्तो टेस्ट गर्छ धेरै फास्ट रोस्ट भएको छ भने कस्तो हुन्छ स्कर्चिङ भयो भने कस्तो टेस्ट आउँछ एन्ड सो अन त्यस्तोहरू चाहिँ थाहा पाउनु सजिलो हुन्छ तर इफ यु हेभ नट टेकन द्याट एन्ड इफ युर अ फ्रेस रोस्टर हु इज स्टार्टिङ अफ जस्ट नाउ देन आई वुड रेकमेन्ड लाइक इफ यु आर डुइङ अ ब्याड रोस्ट then be able to repeat that bad roast, and then start making improvements on that roast. So that way you're gonna learn much more information about.
So you basically
coffee.
need to at least roast the same profile. Doesn't matter if it's a bad one or maybe whatever you think it's. Maybe it might be the best one for you, but you need to make sure that you are repeating that again and again.
So त्यो repetitionले गर्दाखेरि नै पछि राम्रो रोस्ट चाहिँ repeat गर्नु चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्छ कि. So I would say you say I would say this is the definition of experience नै भनौँ.
True.
Long definition दिने हो भने चाहिँ like you keep on roasting and then you start roasting, like firstly maybe a bad roast that you don't like. You should be able to repeat that bad roast. Then you can start making improvements on that bad roast, which you can perfect into a coffee that you would like to give your customers.
You know, Norgey, when it comes to processing, let's go with the roasting ne khas kari se. How do you, according to different roaster, there are different definitions on light roast, medium roast, and dark roast. Some people say light roast. Let's take an example. If you are a roaster and I'm a roaster, I might say light roast in a different way. You might say this a different way again. So how do you, from your side, कसरी चाहिँ तपाईहरुले light roast, medium roast, or dark roast profile लाई चाहिँ define गर्नुहुन्छ र त्यो definition चाहिँ you convey those definitions to the cafeteria.
So the way we do it is very हाम्रो like SOP तिर गयो, roasting protocol, quality control तिर गयो. So हामीले चाहिँ roast analyzer, which is light tails को roast analyzer मा check गर्छौं. त्यो roast मा check गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it gives a specific number. A number पनि let's say medium roast भन्छ हैन. Medium roast मा नि एउटा range हुन्छ कि. A different number medium roast and let's say +5 agates on भएको medium roast say it's going to taste different. So हामीले चाहिँ specifically एउटै quality को लागि एउटै quality maintain होस् भनेर एउटा specific number चाहिँ target गर्छौं medium roast भित्र पनि. तर the way we explain it to the cafes is this is the medium roast, we check on the roast analyzer. Medium dark ho भने पनि it should show medium dark on the roast analyzer, but there's a specific number. If they do ask, we briefly go over like what it means, the number. That's what we base off our like medium roast, light roast, त्योबाट base off गर्छौं. Same the thing is about different roast analyzer, let's say light tails को एउटा छ, maybe अर्कै कम्पनीको अर्कै नम्बर हुन सक्छ. त्यो चाहिँ एउटा क्यालिब्रेट चाहिँ गर्न मिल्छ. Let's say just for example, like 63 is light in one company. 63 is 55 might be like medium light for other. त्यस्तो हो कि.
Okay.
So it's just like same number could be different definitions for like different roast analyzers.
But कतिजनासँग त्यो आइडिया अथवा त्यो इक्विपमेन्ट्सहरु पनि नहोला. त्यो पुने टाइममा they just gonna see and visually whatever they feel like, okay, this might be this वाला roast profiles हरु चाहिँ अनि उहाँहरुले त्यो इन्फर्मेसन्सहरु दिइरहन्छ. But maybe not, because at that point of time के हुन्छ त्यो जुन roasting profile बनाए हुन्छ that might go a little bit higher or maybe a little bit lower, and that might be a little bit challenging as per your कुराहरुमा चाहिँ. So how, as a cafe owner who purchase, or let's say who source roasted coffee, उहाँहरुलाई यो कुराहरु चाहिँ कसरी थाहा पाउने त? This is not my roast profiles. This is the one that I really want भन्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ कसरी चाहिँ you think that they should figure it out?
So is this after they've already started like taking the same coffee?
Yes.
Or okay. So same coffee लगाउने बेला चाहिँ roast level को यो बारेमा भन्ने हो भने चाहिँ if they have a roast analyzer, उनीहरुले चेक गरेर बिनमा चेक गर्ने, ग्राउन्डमा चेक गर्ने, हामीले अर्डर गर्ने पहिला नै यो चाहिँ हो कि हैन भनेर टेस्ट गर्न मिल्छ. But the other more economical, like cheaper option is extract गरेर टेस्ट गर्ने, कि त कप गरे पनि हुन्छ. अनि it could be the barista, it could be the cafe owner, restaurant owner. त्यहाँ चाहिँ उनीहरुले चाहिँ कफी कप गरेर हाम्रो टेस्ट प्रोफाइल चाहिँ यही नै हो कि हैन भनेर त्यहाँबाट चेक गर्न मिल्छ उनीहरुले चाहिँ. अब if it's not, then हामीले चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट पनि अब के भन्छ यता रोस्टरीमा कन्ट्याक्ट गरेर what went wrong भन्ने चाहिँ हेर्न मिल्छ. But if it's the same, it's usually not that like that issue usually doesn't come up भनौं न.
हाम्रोमा चाहिँ कफी सप्सहरूमा त्यति बिजी आइडियाजहरू हुँदैन खास गरी जहाँ चाहिँ दे वुड लभ टु कप द कफिजहरू and they want to figure out whether the quality of the coffee is same or not. But from a producer or maybe roaster side, do you ever try to contact the cafeteria and give them some educations on roasting?
So हामीले चाहिँ नयाँ क्याफे आएको बेला चाहिँ we do provide some knowledge about like what kind of coffees we roast, how we roast them, कुन ओरिजिनबाट आउँछ के हुन्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हामीले प्रोभाइड चाहिँ गर्छौँ. But that's usually for the new cafes. नयाँ आइरहेछ भने they want to know the information. अब मेरो कस्टमरलाई सर अब एज अ क्याफे मेरो कस्टमरलाई कस्तो कफी सर्भ गरिरहेछ भने they want to know as a owner, cafe owner, restaurant owner नि त. So त्यो एस्पेक्टमा चाहिँ we explain it in fully. तर after they've already started like using our coffee, त्यो पोइन्टमा चाहिँ युजली बरिस्टाहरूसँग चाहिँ इस्यु आएको छ भने मात्र कन्ट्याक्ट हुन्छ. अब बरिस्टा पनि चेन्ज भइरहेको छ अनि द थिङ इज अब फ्यु इस्युज चाहिँ अब नयाँ बरिस्टा आउँदाखेरि पहिलाकोले अब त्यो इन्फर्मेसन चाहिँ राम्रोसँग प्रोभाइड गरेको छैन भने चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ अलिकति इस्यु आउँछ. बिकज द न्यू बरिस्टा माइट ह्याभ अ डिफ्रेन्ट थट अफ लाइक एक्सप्रेसो चाहिँ यस्तो हुनुपर्छ. देयर इज नो राइट डेफिनेसन लाइक एक्सप्रेसो यस्तै हुनुपर्छ, टेस्ट यस्तै आउनुपर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ छैन. तर द एन्ड कन्ज्युमर एन्ड पोइन्ट त कन्ज्युमर हो नि त. कन्ज्युमरलाई चाहिँ क्याफे ओनरले चाहिँ क्याफेहरूले चाहिँ कसरी दिइरहेछ, कस्तो खालको कफी दिइरहेछ भन्ने चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ कम्युनिकेट चाहिँ हुनुपर्छ दुईवटा बरिस्टा बिचमा चाहिँ.
This makes sense त्यसमा चाहिँ. And coming back to the same stuff, you see हाम्रो coffee shops-हरुमा they have very least numbers of coffee shop, they put 2 grinders क्या, जहाँ चाहिँ for the milk based भयो अथवा espresso based भयो. But you and I both know कि even हाम्रो पनि छैन in my cafe, no, not at all. तर you see this is one of the challenge, or maybe I don't know how do you put this one, त्यो challenge भन्ने कि अर्को कुनै difficultiesहरु भनौँ. त्यो कफी एस्प्रेसोमा खान्छ अथवा अमेरिकानोमा खान्छ, they kind of get different profiles-हरु. अनि the same coffee तपाईको milk based-मा खाइरा हुन्छ, so it might not taste the exact strong because of the milk ले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ. How often does the customer know about these stuff, or do they ask about these informations-हरु?
So customers as in like end customer,
cafe
को customer,
cafe, coffee shop.
Since I mentioned like उनीहरुसँग चाहिँ धेरै कन्ट्याक्ट हुँदैन. कफी शपले भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ what we recommend them is, अब उनीहरुको कस्टमर चाहिँ अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड गर्नु पहिला कस्तो खालको कस्टमर छ. Some people like milk based मा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ some customers want cafe customers want a coffee that's like dark chocolate, अलिकति strong flavor भएको मन पर्छ. उनीहरुको लागि चाहिँ what we recommend is like अब let's say medium roast लगिरहेछ भने चाहिँ do a double shot. त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ there's more coffee and there's not a lot of milk नि. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ more dark chocolate flavors, त्यो flavors-हरु चाहिँ आउनु सुरु गर्छ कि. If you're extracting it's and if the customer wants a bit lighter coffee, त्यति strong like taste गरेको milk base मा चाहिँदैन भने चाहिँ we recommend like using a single shot के. So त्यो way मा चाहिँ process गर्छ. But the thing is like you mentioned, अब दुईटा grinder राख्यो भने चाहिँ राम्रो पनि हुन्छ, easy पनि हुन्छ, because एउटै कुराले सबै ठाउँमा चाहिँ छुन्नु चाहिँ सक्दैन कि. अनि दुईटा ग्राइन्डर चाहिँ भयो भने चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्छ भनेर कहिले क्याफेतिर जानुपर्छ. त्यहाँतिर चाहिँ गएर क्यालिब्रेसनहरुमा हेल्प आउट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ that's what I tell the baristas and the cafe owners as well. तर also looking back at like economical stuff, budget मा हेर्नु पर्यो. त्यसमा चाहिँ अब if they don't want to like keep 2 grinders अनि like get 2 roast levels profiles, एउटैबाट चलाउनु चाहिँ that's one way you can like adjust भनौँ.
Lekali coffee ले, now since you are taking the legacy right, Matsali, yes, Lekali coffee ले कसरी चाहिँ आफ्नो कन्ज्युमर सम्म क्वालिटी मेन्टेन गरेर कफी पुर्याउँछ.
So
जुन चाहिँ you guys are strictly following and you can strictly say that this is why and what we are doing right now.
So I would say I would start from the green bean. Green bean चाहिँ हाम्रो आफ्नै फार्मबाट नि ल्याउँछ. but the thing is like हाम्रो के भन्छ लेकालीको चाहिँ उता नुवाकोटमा छ.
Mhm.
So the thing is but if we are sourcing the green beans from some other origin other than the farm, हामीले चाहिँ small batches मा चाहिँ जहिले sample roast गरेर test गर्छौँ के. Like mostly चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ main चाहिँ production roast level मा roast profile मा चाहिँ कस्तो taste आउँदैछ, same आउँदैछ कि, are there any defects, त्यो हेर्छौँ कि. अनि only after it's acceptable we order them in bulk. That's what we do. We also cup them in the SCA cupping standard, which is like अब भन्यो भने 63 agrotone medium light तिर हुनुपर्छ ग्राउन्डमा चाहिँ. त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कफी आफै इभ्यालुएट गर्नुको लागि चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्छ. which just means कफीको एसिडिटी कस्तो छ, कफीको लाइक अमिलोपना कस्तो छ, गुलियोपना कस्तो छ, ब्यालेन्स कस्तो छ, त्यो हेर्नुको लागि चाहिँ हेल्पफुल हुन्छ. तर प्रोडक्सन साइडमै स्पेसिफिकली हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ अब हामीले प्रोडक्सनमै जे रोस्ट गर्छौँ त्यो चाहिँ स्याम्पल रोस्टमा गरेर हाम्रो कफी यस्तो प्रोभाइड गर्छौँ, यही क्वालिटीको छ कि छैन भनेपछि मात्र हामीले इम्पोर्ट गर्छौँ. सो आफ्टर द्याट प्रोडक्सनमा आइसकेपछि I mean green bean चाहिँ बल्कमा आइसकेपछि what we do is we follow the same roast profile and the sample roasterमा गएर यस्तै गरेर प्रोडक्सनमा फलो गर्छौँ. फर्स्ट ब्याच हामीले अलवेज लाइक एक्सट्र्याक्ट गरेर सबै चेक गरेर कप गरेर सबै ठिक छ कि छैन हेरेपछि it's only then when we move over to like roasting the same coffees in bulk. And as mentioned हाम्रो चाहिँ युजली अब रोस्ट प्रोफाइल चेक हुन्छ, रोस्ट लेभल पनि चेक हुन्छ रोस्ट एनालाइजर युज गरेर. After that we cup the coffees, we extract the coffees, milk पनि ट्राई गर्छौँ, अमेरिकानो ट्राई गर्छौँ. So that's how we make sure our like quality is always consistent.
Do you do that for every batch you send to a cafeteria, or just the new people who have been sending? Or
no. So every batch मा नै गर्छ. So the thing is नयाँ कफी आएको छ भने चाहिँ we do everything. First batch, second batch को लागि चाहिँ we do everything. But after के भन्छ त्यो भइसकेपछि चाहिँ we the
control
first
the
batch,
quality.
second batch भइसकेपछि चाहिँ what we exclude is we don't extract the espressos for every batch. अब कपिङ चाहिँ हुन्छ, कपिङ एज इन जस्ट लाइक नर्मल हाम्रो कपिङ हुने जस्तै ग्राइन्ड गरेर जस्ट पानी हाल्ने, त्योबाट चाहिँ कपिङ चाहिँ हुन्छ, रोस्ट एनालाइजरमा चेक हुन्छ. तर एभ्री ब्याचमा एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्ने त्यो चाहिँ एभ्री लाइक पर डे चाहिँ एउटा ब्याचमा चाहिँ हुन्छ, तर नट एभ्री ब्याच.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty good. That's why you see Lekali is Lekali, one of the top brand that we see right now in Nepal. Now, I was two questions with that. I just coffee my birsidi. Anyways, I can come back to that later. What are the challenges, Norgey, when you started? You have roasted a lot of coffees, right? Nepal ko? Baapre.
A lot.
सबै भने नि भएको त अब नयाँ लिएर आए मात्रै हो त केही पनि छैन के अरे.
नयाँ भने नि अब नयाँ प्रोसेस छ भने चाहिँ लाइक आई मेन्सन इट्स मच मोर इन्ट्रेस्टिङ भनौँ. नयाँ प्रोसेस डिफ्रेन्ट बिन द्याट आइभ नट रोस्टेड बिफोर भनौँ न, डिफ्रेन्ट भेराइटल पनि हुनसक्छ. विदेशबाट
लिएर आए मात्रै हो होइन. when it comes to you know varietalको बारेमा हाम्रो त एकदमै धेरै जस्तो मिक्स्ड भेराइटल्सहरू छ नि.
True.
Right? Do you see varietal is one of the main challenges where it might be a little bit hard for you to roast when it comes to roasting? Because I see most of the people might not take care of that when it comes to varietal. म यो फलाना varietalलाई यसरी रोस्ट गर्छु भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ अलिकति कमै कन्सर्नमा छ. I believe Surya is one of them. जसले चाहिँ अलिकति हेर्ला किनकि most of the time we sit down together, we mostly talk about कफीको भेराइटल फलाना भेराइटललाई you know रोस्ट गर्न डिफ्रेन्ट तरिकाले गर्नुपर्छ. हाम्रो रोस्टिङ क्लासमा पनि he was talking about this stuff a lot. How hard is it varietals-हरुमा अनि किन ध्यान दिनुपर्छ?
So varietalमा चाहिँ ध्यान चाहिँ दिनुपर्छ. Like each aspect is important because let's say एउटा varietal like mix छैन भने अनि अर्को प्योर भेराइटलले चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्ट टेस्ट चाहिँ दिन सक्छ. द प्रब्लम इज अब मिक्स छ भन्यो भने चाहिँ त्यो मिक्स चाहिँ कस्तो खालको छ थाहा हुँदैन नि त. लेट्स से एउटा लटमा बर्बन चाहिँ लेट्स से 60% हुनसक्छ, अर्को भेराइटल 40% हुनसक्छ. नेक्स्ट ब्याच गर्दाखेरि इट माइट बी द अपोजिट वे अराउन्ड. नेक्स्ट गर्दाखेरि 85 हुनसक्छ. सो त्यो वेमा चाहिँ टेस्टमा कन्सिस्टेन्सी बस्नुको लागि चाहिँ अलिकति अप्ठ्यारो चाहिँ हुन्छ. बट अब चाहिँ अब भेराइटल सेपरेट गर्नु सक्यो भने चाहिँ द्याट्स बेस्ट. तर देश अब हाम्रो चाहिँ प्रोडक्सन नै अलिक कम भएपछि इट्स अ बिट डिफिकल्ट सेपरेटिङ भेराइटल्स एभ्री टाइम when doing in a bulk production. Okay?
So how do you look forward to roast the mixed varietal coffee?
So mix like look forward as in
like how do you want to roast it? There's the pre-mindset or this do you roast it or you just that this is what I want?
So I look at the previous roast logs. त्यसले पनि अलिकति हेल्प चाहिँ गर्छ डेटा कलेक्सन भएपछि चाहिँ त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ यो कफी चाहिँ यस्तो टेस्ट आउन सक्छ सो यस्तो तरिकाले रोस्ट गर्छु भन्ने एउटा माइन्डसेट चाहिँ हुन्छ तर एट द ब्याक अफ द माइन्ड आई हेभ लाइक यसरी भइरहेको छैन भने चाहिँ यो चेन्ज गर्छु भन्ने चाहिँ हुन्छ कि सो लेट्स चाहिँ डिफ्रेन्ट तरिकाले मैले प्लान गरेको अनुसार डिफ्रेन्ट तरिकाले रोस्ट भइरहेछ भने चाहिँ द्याट्स वेन आई स्टार्ट चेन्जिङ द रोस्ट प्लान भनौँ पहिला प्लान गरिसकेको चाहिँ आई थिङ्क द्याट्स त्यसरी नै हो लाइक मिक्स भेराइटल्सहरू चाहिँ युजली गर्ने चाहिँ
or else normally मान्छेले पहिला जे गरेको थियो त्यही नै गर्ने हुन्छ
so
if they do not take care of it varietals and everything किनकि कतिपय ठाउँमा चाहिँ ट्रान्सपेरेन्सी हुँदैन नि त है त्यो कुराहरूले गर्दाखेरि हो how do you take specialty coffee as a definitions ma
specialty coffee that's another question right good question
don't say I love Nescafe over here
I do love Nescafe so specialty coffee our definition अनुसार नै जाने हो भने चाहिँ 80+ कप गर्दाखेरि 80+ भएको कफी चाहिँ स्पेशलिटी कफी भन्छ तर आई फिल लाइक अब त्यो चाहिँ हार्डकोर एउटा अब्जेक्टिभ डेफिनेसन चाहिँ भयो अलिकति सब्जेक्टिभ जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ पर्सनली फर मी स्पेशलिटी भनेको अब नाममै छ नि त स्पेसल हो भनेर सो इफ युर पुटिङ अ लट अफ केयर इन्टु द होल भ्याल्यु चेन कफी फार्मिङदेखि लिएर लास्टमा कपमा पुग्नेसम्म राम्रोसँग केयर गरेर बुझेर कफी प्रोसेस गरेर रोस्ट गरेर फार्ममा नि ध्यान दिएर ब्रु राम्रोसँग गरेर एक्सट्र्याक्ट राम्रोसँग गरेर त्यो प्रोभाइड गरेको छ भने चाहिँ द्याट्स स्पेशलिटी कफी द थिङ इज अब त्यस्तरी प्रोसेस गरेको छ भने चाहिँ दे युजली डु क्रस द 80 स्कोर लाइक थ्रेस होल्ड तर इफ आइम बिङ लाइक अ बिट सब्जेक्टिभ द्याट्स वाट स्पेशलिटी इज फर मी
But I want to ask, you see, most of the time, I guess, तपाईसँग भएको कफिजहरू छ less than 80 त छैन होला हैन I see it's been a long period of time I haven't tasted a cup I've been cupping a lot of coffees in your place as well Lekali में I've never tasted less than 80 coffees or in fact I don't remember the last time I've tasted less than 82 भनौँ न to be very very honest but how do you take this one because you have roasted a lot of coffees highly graded coffees specifically produced in Nepal what are the challenges that you see right now coming up though it might be 2 years but you have done a lot of roasting and you are into processing as well you have got a lot of data or you have got a lot of information that so you know that where are we heading when it comes to highly quality coffee growing producing and roasting
so I feel like most people who are already much into coffee they're doing a good job in the roasting part they're also doing a good part in the processing part farming part पनि राम्रै छ तर त्यहाँ चाहिँ अझै सुधार चाहिँ गर्न मिल्छ कि सो एज यु मेन्सन प्रोडक्सन धेरै छैन प्रोडक्सनलाई कसरी सुधार्ने तर राम्रो क्वालिटी बनाएर प्रोडक्सन कसरी सुधार्ने भनेमा चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ फोकस गर्न सकिन्छ जस्तो लाग्यो फार्मिङ पार्टमा चाहिँ आम लाइक आई हेभ बिन टु द फार्म लाइक couple of times but not enough to actually make an impact on them in the farming side
to observe
so like mostly like observation is to like usaruma ta bharista tara actively चाहिँ part लिएको छैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ like अब त्यही नुवाकोटकै फार्म उता हाम्रो इलाममा प्रणिताहरूसँग जाँदाखेरि it's really fun it's like very fun going to the farms
we have been through a lot of farm I guess we have been very lucky thanks to Pranita I think I don't know. We cannot promise any, but we have visited a lot of farm. Lot of farm. We have seen the situations, and we know that why the quality is not the exact way that we really expect. And there have been times as we boss farm ko conditions cost us, right? Farmer ko conditions cost us. Cost halko farmer थियो, हैन? We never see the young people over there at all. And त्यसपछि गएर processing unitहरू
Mhm.
भयो dangerously राखेको छ. These
Few
are
of
the
them,
things that
few
really,
of them.
you know, putting a very big impact on the quality and also the productions as well.
Mhm. So I would say going back to like my definition of specialty, they if they're caring about the coffee that they're processing, if they're caring about the coffee that they're harvesting, farming, आफै स्पेसलिटी भएर आउँछ कि लाइक 80% त मजाले हुन्छ कि तर अब फर्टिलाइजर राम्रोसँग टाइममा युज नगर्ने प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि अब ड्राई गर्दाखेरि राम्रोसँग ड्राई नगर्ने त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब त्यही आउँछ क्या इस्यु चाहिँ. सो एनिथिङ द्याट्स डन विथ केयर एन्ड आई वुड से लभ द्याट्स स्पेसलिटी.
Oh, love.
लाइक अब के भन्छ
मायाले कफी खुवाउँछु तपाईँलाई.
कफी चेरी के भन्छ कफी चेरीबाट यता कपमा आउनेसम्म इफ युर केयरिङ फर इट अलमोस्ट लाइक युर ओन चाइल्ड. अब कफी प्रोसेस गरेको बेला आई थिङ्क मेबी यु अल्सो लाइक एक्सपिरियन्स द्याट मेरो कफी कस्तो हुन्छ होला लाइक कपमा कस्तो आउँछ होला राम्रोसँग त गरेको. बट इफ यु डु द्याट वेल देन अब केयरसँग गरेको छ भने चाहिँ राम्रो चाहिँ डेफिनेटली हुन्छ कि. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. It does, because it's not just having that coffee with yourself and then basically and it's not about that. Right? There are a lot of things inside it, and that's where when we score those coffees and we get a very good result out of those coffees, it makes you proud. And it makes you proud in a very higher notes, man. Now, as a roaster, Norgey, again, I'm talking about, roasting side a lot, because this is the right point of time where I can see, and I hope that your podcast, most probably cafe ownersly or barista, they'll have that idea how it's not only the roastery and roaster problem. Sometimes we need to work on from our side as well, right? How do you control a roasted beans when it comes to coffee shop? Yes, storage already is up, but mostly whatever you have seen after you roast the coffee, how long do you keep it for, settling it down, cool down गर्नलाई?
So cool down गर्नुको लागि चाहिँ what I would recommend is at least a cool down as in like अब coffee भित्र roast गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ there's a lot of gases like coming out. So त्यो ग्यास निस्किने पार्टलाई चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ degassing भन्छौँ. त्यो हुनुको लागि चाहिँ I would recommend at least like 3 days मिनिमम 1 डे चाहिँ रेस्ट गर्न पाओस् कि कफीले चाहिँ. त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कफी चाहिँ मोर स्टेबल हुँदै जान्छ. एज इन अब फ्रेसली रोस्टेड कफी एक्सट्र्याक्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ इट्स गोना टेस्ट भेरी डिफरेन्ट कम्पेयर्ड टु द सेम ब्याच द्याट हेज बिन रेस्टेड फर सम टाइम.
डोन्ट यु गेट अ प्रब्लम जहाँ चाहिँ आज कफी सक्यो मेरो कफी सक्यो
सो त्यो चाहिँ आउँछ हामीले क्याफेहरूलाई नि भनिरहेको हुन्छ लाइक प्लिज लाइक coffee alikati baki hune bela chai like order couple of days beforehand. So we have time to like roast the coffees, let it rest and make sure the quality is like on point. Tara aba as kalikal chai aba I'm not sure aba maybe they've forgotten to place the order. Kalikali aba surprisingly there's like more customers coming in. Tele garda ke chai that problem does arise. Azai coffee sakyo azai ल्याइदिनु भन्नुहुन्छ. त्यो सिचुएसनमा चाहिँ there is very very little like we can do because we don't roast coffees in bulk. Like mostly order आइसकेपछि मात्र रोस्ट गर्छौँ कि.
That's one of the problem that I've been there for a very long period of time, and that's when तपाईँले एउटा त फ्रेस कफी पठाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ. You don't have any options किनकि तपाईँले रोस्टिङ गरेर चाहिँ स्टोरेजमा त राख्ने होइन. You get the order, you roast the coffees, look after a lot of qualities, and then you send the coffees. Now, most of the people, they just get the coffees. Now, the other problem that we face over there is coffee ma crema dere bhayo, right? Because you have a freshly roasted coffee, first of all. And as a cafe owner, they need to understand that if you're getting a freshly roasted coffee in a cafeteria, you're basically going to get that high crema in a coffee. And जहाँ चाहिँ न त milk based हुन्छ न त Americano might look very good. You have that crema on top, but espresso might have a lot of too much of crema, and that might not look good at all. So what do you suggest to these people?
So most easiest thing चाहिँ अब अलि चाँडो अर्डर गर्नु हुन्छ.
Please.
So the other thing is from the extractions I've done, it's अब freshly roasted coffee छ भने चाहिँ it's gonna extract much more faster in the same grind size.
Yeah.
let's say a certain grind size send गरौँ like सबैको grinder different हुन्छ, so I cannot say like a certain number. So एउटा certain grinder size मा set गर्यो, हिजो रोस्ट I mean पहिला अर्डर गरिसकेको ब्याचको लास्ट ब्याच ग्राइन्ड गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मजाले टाइममा जति जुन टाइममा टार्गेट गरेको छ त्यही टाइममा झऱ्यो. तर कफी सक्यो भन्यो अनि नयाँ कफी भर्खर फ्ल्यासी रोस्टेड छ भने चाहिँ it's gonna extract much more faster. So त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ one thing you can kind of like adjust is अब सेम चाहिँ निकाल्नु चाहिँ गाह्रो हुन्छ because it is definitely a fresh roast. अलिकति गर्न सकिने भनेको चाहिँ अलिकति ग्राइन्ड साइज चाहिँ फाइनर जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ it's gonna extract a little bit slower. मेन्सन गरेको टाइम I mean टार्गेट गरेको टाइमहरू चाहिँ झर्छ. That's why this goes back to like calibrating the machine, calibrating the coffee grind size. So that's how they can tackle it. So the easiest thing would be like coffee चाहिँ अलि साह्रो अर्डर गर्नु. अलि
अर्डर चाहिँ छिटो गरिदिनु पर्यो हैन. एटलिस्ट तपाईसँग क्याफेमा 2टा प्याकेट छ भने बिस्तारै नकुर्ने, एउटा प्याकेट हुँदा मात्र अर्डर गर्छ. Just because you want to control your cost for a few weeks does not even make any sense because you are causing trouble for other people as well. Now I was looking at this packet. You see your packet ma say you have got one of these packets जहाँ say you're one of the brands who has been giving a lot of information, transparency, sustainability, quality. You know, यो सबै चीजहरु चाहिँ मेन्सन पहिला देखि नै गर्दै आएको छ. Kinneki I've made a lot of YouTube videos on how you know coffee packet is important, right? Coffee packaging is also important, and keeping those packet and storing in a cafeteria, that is also important. It's not only having a good quality packet will only make sense. There are a lot of things behind it. How do you store it? How do you keep it? Where do you place it? यो सबै कुराले इम्प्याक्ट पार्ने कामहरु गर्छ. So when it comes to packaging, in your opinion, all the informations. Number one, how much serious are you guys when it comes to these informations? Because I see a lot of origins over here. See, there are a lot of origins. There are a lot of varietals. You have specifically chosen the varietals and the process as well. So at a point of time, you might get out of track as well, or do you don't?
So in what aspect, like out of track, as in
the whole stuff?
So
traceability, ma.
So going back to quality, data collection. यही information चाहिँ हाम्रो क्याफेले हामीलाई प्रोभाइड गर्छ कि let's say if a roast does taste or like if a coffee does taste different, this is our trace back to what actually went wrong or if everything went right. So this is what we use. क्याफेले order place गर्छ, roast हुन्छ, अनि we can see the roast date, कुन roast level गरेको छ, then we can trace back to like what actually could have went wrong भनेर. So roasting गरेको log मात्र भन्दा नि we also keep track of like how much green bean we're using up, how like which cafes we're sending the batches, त्योहरु चाहिँ track राख्छौं कि. So त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we can come back to what actually went wrong or if everything went right, and maybe it's something in the extraction side that went wrong. So त्यो aspect मा चाहिँ it's helpful, so we're pretty serious on that.
It's pretty good because I like the fact you have mentioned the quality, number one. And I know that before you, when I was talking to Nimada, before I met you, I know. And
podcast number. Podcast number.
So I really love the fact, you know, the way he has maintained the quality of the packaging and everything. And got to a point of time, I guess I want to say, coffee ko packet my information is now or coffee ko packaging ramra now though it might be a very good quality coffee, it's still gonna spoil the characteristics of the coffee as well. To point of time, as a barista or as a cafe owner, if I'm sourcing the coffee from a certain producer or maybe processor, that's gonna be a very tough one. And no matter what, how much you're trying to maintain the quality in a cafeteria, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a tough job. And let's get back a little bit back to your initial stage of processing. Do you process coffee still? You Barista processing on Barista?
You Barista say goreko still. Yeah,
I know.
But hopefully, so what I'm planning is like next our coming harvest money, I'll be processing some coffees. Like I mentioned, experiment garnu sa maja लाग्छ. So अस्तिकै same repeat गर्नु भन्दा नि I'll be doing like different processes to see कुन processले कसरी affect गर्दै छ टेस्टमा भनेर. So I will be processing some coffees. Alka ke bhancha outline pani banaisake, like what kind of process I'll be doing, एउटा अब रोस्टिङ प्लान्ट बनाउने जस्तै गरेर
Mhm.
लाइक कति टाइमको लागि फर्मेन्ट गर्ने कति म्युसलेज राख्ने
डेटा एनालग गर्दै जाने
डेटा चाहिँ अब प्लान चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ बनाइसक्यो सो आई जस्ट आई हेभ टु सी लाइक इफ एभ्रिथिङ गोज टु प्लान एन्ड हाउ द कफी टेस्ट इन द कप
Sweet. What's your favorite processing till now?
processing
You have done after QP2.
After QP2, let's see. I would say it's the coffee that I would drink like every day would be a washed coffee, like clean washed coffee, because it's lighter. Like I'm able to like drink that every day when I'm not. But I do like a really well processed like anaerobic coffee as well. The reason being it provides a really fruity flavor.
Why not naturals?
No, anaerobic as in natural maize and some mostly some will say.
Why not traditional naturals?
Traditional naturals. To be honest, अब मैले चाहिँ त्यति अस्ति प्रोसेस गरेको चाहिँ ट्रेडिसनल नेचुरल चाहिँ त्यति गरेको छैन. द थिङ इज अब ट्रेडिसनल नेचुरल गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ if it's not processed too well, from my experience from the coffees that are processed, if it's not processed too well, it almost starts tasting like a washed coffee. So if it's almost tasting like a washed coffee, then why not just make a clean washed coffee? So that's why the two extremes, washed versus anaerobic naturals.
Makes sense. Smash it.
So, but on the other part, it's like I have tried like honey processed coffees that are like very well.
I still remember.
If I had to choose, I would say like washed and anaerobic naturals.
I still remember QP2. You guys did the black honey. It turned out to be a black. You guys did one?
No,
black honey.
Black honey. I think our
hey, brown and black honey was us.
Yeah, black honey was ours was yellow honey.
Yellow and brown.
Brown, I don't.
That actually turned out to be a brown. Okay, मज्जाले brown भयो.
Color चाहिँ मज्जाले आएको छ. I remember, but that was a long time ago. I think it was brown. And the thing is, I didn't get to try the like roast the coffees.
Oh my god,
so that was the issue.
हामीले चाख्नै पाएनौँ. But how do you take the experience of QP2, quality processing too? Because that was your first time here at Kurata, and second of all, there was too much of information, and where are you gonna put it, and coming back to your place, and then about हामीसँग त त्यो हार्भेस्टिङ सिजन सिधिसकेपछि गएर we still have 1 year अब भर्खरै हार्भेस्टिङ सिधियो अब 1 year छ नि त हामीसँग चाहिँ अब त्यसको लागि कुनलाई we need to come up with a plan as well. त्यो कतिपय कुराहरू चाहिँ गर्नु पर्थ्यो. It was pretty much challenging because we didn't have too much of coffeesहरू. Plus we never got that coffee to taste as well. Later on the coffeesहरू बिग्रेर गयो भन्ने कुराहरू सुन्न पायो. So we never knew whatever we did was good or bad. होइन. Yes, according to analog, yeah, it should be good. It should be super nice.
It was made with care.
Yes, with love. But yeah, यो कुराहरूले चाहिँ धेरै इम्प्याक्ट पार्ने कामहरू गर्थ्यो. तर how do you take your experience on QP2?
First thing, like you mentioned, information चाहिँ overload नै भयो थियो. Like there was a lot of information that I had to like take in, because roasting ma चाहिँ I was taking like actively part in that. Processing ma चाहिँ I would say that was the first time I actually touched it, like actually participated in processing. It was very interesting because त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीले harvest देखि लिएर यता green bean production सम्म गरेको थियो. I mean green bean production भन्दा नि parchment production सम्म चाहिँ गएको थियो, dry parchment. So the amount of work that goes into producing a really well processed coffee, it is tough.
Very.
That's why I would call it like specialty coffee, अलि केयरले बनाएको. Because सानो lots बनाउनु चाहिँ it's much easier, because maybe it's like 1 kg of fresh cherry, freshly picked cherry. त्योबाट बनाउँदाखेरि there's not a lot to look out for. तर let's say when you're producing 200 kgs of green bean, त्यसको लागि चाहिँ जति चाहिँ केयर प्रोभाइड गर्नुपर्छ, that was pretty difficult.
And that's what we have been talking about most of the time. किनकि हामीले अहिले त 10 kg 20 kg 25 kg we try to do it and try to experiment a lot of stuff, but when we sit down with they and then talk about these stuff, how tough it's going to be to maintain the exact quality. The
bulk production ma jandakhi चाहिँ अलिकति difficult thing was, because I still remember like early morning गएपछि we took the coffees out to dry, make sure to like rake the coffees parchments every time, so like everything's like evenly dried. Temperature specific thresholds across गर्नु भएन, like ambient humidity कस्तो छ, coffee bean को temperature कस्तो छ, ambient temperature कस्तो छ, राति फेरि शीत लाग्छ भनेर we just like covered the coffee cherries. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah. But you could say when it comes to real त्यो टाइममा त we were learning नि त. So we were there 24/7. We were there for like 7 days taking care just for the coffees हरू मात्रै. तर it's going to be very much challenging when it comes to आफ्नो personal life पनि हेर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ, त्यो farm side मा पनि हेर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. So कता न कता चाहिँ you keep on, you know, lacking as well, right? त्यो point of time मा चाहिँ. So it's very much important as to make up a plan, because unless and until you do not have a proper plan, that's going to be a very big problem जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ.
So true, एउटा प्लान चाहिँ हुनै पर्छ. लाइक प्रोसेसिङ गर्ने बेला पनि अब लेट्स से इफ सम न्यू प्रब्लम अराइजेस, हाम्रो त्यो बेला नि क्युपी 2 कोर्समा पनि मेन्सन गरेको थियो. लेट्स से इफ इट रेन्स सडनली, you don't have anything to cover the coffee, dried coffees with. Like what are you going to do now? Like सुक्नु लागेको कफी फेरि पानीले भिजाइदियो. लाइक राति राख्यो, बिहान सुक्नु लागेको कफी बिहान हेर्दाखेरि शीतले भिजाएर फेरि राखिदियो. So what are you going to do then भन्ने खालको क्या. सो एउटा के चाहिँ प्रब्लम चाहिँ आउनु सक्छ अनि एउटा प्लान चाहिँ रेडी चाहिँ पार्नुपर्छ. सो मेकिङ स्योर यु हेभ अ टर्प रेडी, त्यस्तो. सो मेकिङ स्योर युर लगिङ, लाइक अब रेक गरिरहेको छ कि छैन, कफीहरू फ्लिप गरिरहेको छ कि छैन, लाइक एभ्री लग. अब मैले पनि अस्ति प्रोसेस गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ आई चेक द लाइक आइम सरी, ह्युमिडिटी भयो, टेम्परेचर भयो, कफीको स्मेल, टेक्स्चर, पिएच सबै चेक गरेर त्यसपछि पो कहिले चाहिँ फर्मेन्टेसन स्टप गर्ने भनेर इभ्यालुएट गर्छु कि. सो इट्स लाइक डुइङ द्याट इन अ प्रोडक्सन स्केल इज अ बिट हार्डर बट नट इम्पोसिबल भनौँ. एउटा रोस्ट प्रोडक्सनको एउटा प्रोसेसिङको कसरी प्लान चाहिँ बनाउने भनेपछि चाहिँ बनाइसकेपछि चाहिँ इट्स अ बिट इजियर अन लाइक how to proceed, how to make a good quality coffee in bulk.
True. It does make a lot of sense and does come up with a lot of impacts as well. It's not only the rain. Let's take an example. If you have a wind as well, you need to take care of a lot of stuff, you see. The foreign object ko kura auncha, kati धेरै कुराहरु छ which we need to take care of. Now, let's get a little bit more deeper on educational kuраहरुमा in terms of roasting. How do you roast natural processed coffee, wash processed coffee, and honey processed coffee? Have you roasted honey processed coffee? धेरै नै. I know you have roasted honey processed coffee, but then
not in the production roaster. The sample roast मा चाहिँ गरेको छ.
But how do you plan natural all of these processed coffees to be, you know, to get a result? कसरी चाहिँ plan गर्नुहुन्छ and how do you roast it?
So not getting too much into the detail. भन्ने हो भने wash coffee चाहिँ compared to natural is here, wash is here, honey is somewhere in between. Honey चाहिँ अब it could, if processed well, if processed differently, it could taste like a naturally processed coffee. If processed differently, it could taste more like a washed coffee. So I'm just going to talk about the two like extremes, washed and like anaerobic naturally processed one. So naturally, like anaerobic naturally processed गरेको coffee चाहिँ अलिकति delicate चाहिँ हुन्छ. Delicate in the sense that if you provide too much heat, burn चाहिँ चाँडो हुन्छ, scorching चाँडो हुन्छ. Compared to that, washed coffee चाहिँ burn चाहिँ अलिक कम हुन्छ. The thing is, what I would recommend is roasting the anaerobically coffees a bit faster. The reason being, today चाहिँ अलिकति flavor चाहिँ more entrap गर्छ कि. If you're roasting anaerobically processed coffee for a very long time, then it starts losing the flavor properties. Compared to that, about wash मा चाहिँ it's a bit more easier, you know, since it doesn't have a lot of chance of scorching disorders. So mainly चाहिँ roast को speed मै कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ for washed coffee, I usually take it a bit longer. Naturally processed coffee मा चाहिँ it's a bit shorter, but not so fast that I'm scorching the coffees.
You mind telling me the time exact? I know the coffee अनुसारले फरक पर्न जान्छ, but average मा.
So the
average मा.
So average मा, let's see.
If you can say.
That's a bit hard because coffee roaster, like roaster को कति capacity छ त्यसमा फरक पर्छ. Coffee कति हालिरहेछ त्यसमा नि फरक पर्छ. Coffee को moisture मा नि फरक पर्छ. So त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ अलिकति difficult छ. So to be honest, like I can't even provide a very big range का. अब मैले same coffee लाई मेरो production roaster मा गरे भने it could take 10, 15, even 17 minutes. स्याम्पल रोस्टरमा थोरै अमाउन्टमा हालिएको छ भने चाहिँ अर प्रोडक्सन रोस्टरमै भनौँ न क्वान्टिटी चाहिँ लेस गरेको छ भने लेट्स से आइम पुटिङ इन 5 kgs लाइक लेस देन 7.5 or 7 kgs त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ इट्स गोना रोस्ट मच फास्टर क्या सो आई क्यानट provide a specific number like यही टाइममा चाहिँ हुन्छ what I can say is it's faster or slower.
Okay, I'll take that, no problem. I'll take that. It does make sense किनकि it's pretty much hard.
So I would most easy to understand grind size को जस्तै भनौँ न espresso extract गर्दाखेरि अब मैले एउटा ग्राइन्डरको कम्पनी छ लाइक डिफ्रेन्ट क्याफेमा अर्कै हुन्छ एउटामा लेट्स से 15 भनेर सेट गर्यो अर्कोमा 5 छ like those two are the same grind size. I cannot say like यहाँ 15 छ तिम्रो पनि 15 गर भनेर भन्नु मिल्दैन कि so that's how it differs. त्यहाँ कफी पनि डिफ्रेन्ट हुनसक्छ कफीको रोस्ट प्रोफाइल रोस्ट लेभल डिफ्रेन्ट हुनसक्छ.
How would you want customers to address Lekali coffee or your brand?
So as mentioned sustainability quality this traceability त्यसमा चाहिँ फोकस गर्छौँ. So that's how we try to portray ourselves and that's what we actually do. So that's what people actually look up to us as well, our customers. So that's how I would like other people to look at Lekali as well. So quality, sustainability, keeping it consistent.
And I guess that when it comes to people expecting the coffee from Lekali coffee would be the same thing. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
So production must like consistency, quality, we like stay pretty strict on that. So if there is an issue, we dig right into it, like ke problem bhayeko recha bhanera. Like we don't say just like different batch selling garchu. We look at it, what went wrong, ani what can be done better, or like kaha chai problem bhayeko recha bhanera.
So recently Yamada, you assistant Yamada took a roasting class. Right?
Yes.
A roasting class. Finally we had one. If you guys have not taken the class, I'm so sorry, but jealous. I mean,
there's still time. There's still time.
Definitely, yes. I've been lucky. No, don't be jealous. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just pulling your legs. But after a long time, this is what I've been waiting for. कति वर्ष पछि आगे. How was the experience, first of all? Because it was too intense जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ किनकि it might not be for Nimada because he has this thing पहिलादेखि नै but नेपालमा first time भयो नि त the first ASC to take a roasting class in Nepal, having that kind of facilities. That was awesome. That was totally awesome. I'm really glad कि Nimada धन्न त्यहाँ हुनुहुन्थ्यो. And I'm really glad कि Nimada नभइदिए बर बाधै हुन्थ्यो. धन्न उहाँ was. Not only because हामीलाई सजिलो पनि भयो but then moreover like he could understand what we were explaining him. Okay? नेपालकै कफीको बारेमा नेपालकै सिचुएसन्सको बारेमा हाम्रै कुराहरू चाहिँ हाम्रै प्रब्लम्सहरू जुन जब भन्थ्यौँ you know we were eating lunch. Alright, I'm sorry about that. So I was saying कि when we were having lunch अनि बेलुकाको morning host बेलुका host we were just talking about coffees and every time we had something, you know, asking you question, asking Nimada questions, and you guys were always open and answering those questions and giving a lot of examples that it's too much हुन्छ नि जहाँ चाहिँ we were getting the informations and everything. That was really awesome खास गरी. How was your experience and how was the, you know, overall journey? किनकि there were 3 groups, you know, too much stuff. There might be people who could understand the terminology or there might be people who might not be understanding the कुराहरू अलिकति tough time हुन सक्छ. How was your experience?
Initially, before the roasting class started, it was a bit like I was a bit nervous, you know, because just to make sure everything goes to plan. Because you're a time constraint, 5 days course. So just to make sure everything goes on plan, सबैले बुझिरहेछ कि छैन त्यो पनि make sure गर्नु पर्यो. I was nervous at first, but as the classes went on, it got much more relaxed. Everything came into place, and everything went according to plan, and there weren't any hiccups. Hopefully, like everybody who came to the roasting class, were able to like gain a lot of information from there.
Definitely.
Like even though like I know like some people were already into roasting, but the thing is like there's always something to learn, even for me. So I always look for some other thing to learn. Like I've been roasting a lot of coffees, but like the thing is, there's still like some things that I might be missing, which I can learn from like some other people. So hopefully it was like that was useful for everybody.
Definitely. As a student, I would love to explain about those stuff as well, man. Let me do the honor. No, seriously, when it comes to the roasting, I don't know about the next two batches after us, but you know, the kind of information that we have had, oh my gosh. It's more like you had that thing, the internationally designed, the whole course module was there, but mostly we could understand what we were lacking. The simple कुराहरु, simple चिजहरु जहाँ चाहिँ we could think, oh, this can put an impact on the coffee. This is the thing that we have never thought. You know, we could take it in a funny way, there were a lot of things we were taking it in a very serious way as well. But that was way too much intense, and I'm really thankful to Nimada, you know, as an AST. He made it very easy for us. Kati ramro, kati sajilo, kati, you know, ठुलो इम्प्याक्ट पारे यो कुराहरूले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ, अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सायद बाहिरको एएसटी आउनु भएको भए चाहिँ this might not have been possible, and this would have been very tough.
So I do agree with that. किनभने the thing is, बाहिरको एएसटी आएको छ भने they would teach everything in the course material.
Exactly.
Syllabus मा जे छ त्यो चाहिँ सिकाउँथ्यो. The thing is, उनीहरूलाई नेपालको कन्डिसन कस्तो छ, कफी कस्तो छ, सिचुएसन के छ भनेर चाहिँ थाहा हुँदैन कि. सो केही स्पेसिफिक क्वेसन सोधिहाल्यो भने चाहिँ they won't be able to answer it much more clearly in the aspect like with keeping Nepal's like context in mind.
And also he put a step forward to make sure that we could do a little bit practice. In course model so like stretch गरेर he did his best, you know, coming out of the time frame and talking about a lot of coffees को बारेमा, what are the problems, listening to the problems and talking about those problems to the people as well, because there were a lot of people who might have very hard time understanding what, you know, course model, course के हो भन्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ. But having that patience and talking about and giving them enough information so that they can take this information and at least, you know, implement it kuनै पनि ठाउँमा. Maybe they want to do a roasting later on in the future, or maybe not, or want to build up the quality control or come up with a lot of things. There are a lot of ways, and I think we should be very much thankful to Nimada for you know, for this lovely course. And that is why I was mentioning that there are a lot of people who have not been taking your courses as just opportunity पाउनु भएको छैन. They might be very much jealous, and I'm really sorry. नराम्रोले भनेको होइन, यो चाहिँ फेरि don't take it in negatively फेरि. But definitely I think this literally I'm very much honored and I'm very much happy. Not because यो कोर्स सजिलो थिएन, सजिलो बनाएको जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ, किनकि सिचुएसन्स हेरिकन सबै चीजहरु हेरिकन चाहिँ यदि अरूले लिएको भए अर्को एसटीले लिनु भएको भए it's going to be very tough one. हामीलाई धेरै सजिलो भयो. एक्जाममा चाहिँ सजिलो पारेको होइन, एक्जाम चाहिँ गाह्रो थियो. एक्जाममा चाहिँ पढ्नुपर्छ, एक्जाम चाहिँ गाह्रो थियो लास्टै. Now अब त्यो त अब we had that project and we could join that one, but besides that have you been planning नयाँ roasting class के छ?
So हामीले चाहिँ प्लान चाहिँ गरिरहेको छौँ. So we'll be announcing that pretty soon on the Lekali page.
Okay.
So अब कस्तो खालको course moduleहरू हुन्छ. So what we did previously is 5 days को course चाहिँ for the people who weren't a lot into coffee, उनीहरूको लागि चाहिँ foundation भनेर अनि intermediate भनेर दुवै पार्ट चाहिँ एउटामा कनेक्ट गरेको थियो. So we might be like end up separating the foundation and intermediate part for the people who just want to briefly know about coffee. I think like it's going to be really useful for the barista side. It's the reason being they can understand, they can communicate better with their roaster. अनि कफीको टेस्टको बारेमा पनि थाहा हुन्छ कि अलिकति, because they'll be able to taste different roast profile coffees, different processed coffees. So त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ they'll be able to enhance hone their like sensory powers भनौँ न. So I we'll be starting that soon.
Definitely. Now I really hope that there would be a lot of people who would be really interested in this one. कतिजना मान्छेले त सोधि नै राख्नु भएको छ. But one thing that we need to understand that most of the people might be thinking यो कफी कोर्स एकचोटि मात्र लिए पुग्छ, which is not true.
No.
Because you need to have that, like you mentioned, the foundation course, then the intermediate course, and you guys have divided that just to make sure that it's going to be easy for the people. So roasting how they can work on the roasting machine as well. So hopefully there would be a lot of people. Are you guys planning to do it every month, or it's just that randomly you just announced it?
What we're planning right now is about production money, Barista. We still have our other work to look over, but what we want to do is share the knowledge that we have gained. So we'll be doing most likely once per month, limited seats matra huncha. So people who apply register first, we'll be taking them in. So only once per month, because that way it's not going to hamper our production side as well, and other stuff that we need to look into.
So for the people who's going to be interested, they have to
inquiry side. So that's why we're moving forward, moving into that fast as well. So they once per month. So
sweet. But that should be continued.
Yeah,
continued.
So let's say January one class and one course and February one course and so we'll be keeping that updated.
All right, guys, that's gonna be awesome. This is something that you guys have been looking after, and this is the right opportunity where you can take the advanced or maybe the regular roasting classes or whatever you want to choose it. You can definitely get it as well. Ooh, that's pretty nice. Thanks for the information, Norgey.
No worries.
How often do you cup?
I'm sorry?
How often do you cup coffees?
Almost every day, I would say. So production batch, the production batch is cupped every day. But I do, if I have some time off, I do also cup the same coffee to see how it changes when it's stored for a long time. So almost freshly roasted coffee, how it tastes when it's cupped, compared to coffee that has been stored for 3 days and 7 days. So it's pretty often. Sweet.
What's your favorite brew?
Brew method?
What's your favorite brew?
Brew?
Not the method. What's your favorite brew? Favorite ke chai man parcha? You want V60, air press?
Oh yeah, okay.
French press?
So what I prefer the most is V60, just a drip coffee. The reason being it provides the most clarity for the coffee for me. त्यसले चाहिँ अलिकति ट्रान्सपेरेन्ट चाहिँ देखाउँछ कफी चाहिँ अलिकति इट्स it shows the character of the coffee. हुनु त I'm not saying the other brew methods don't show the character, but it's much easier for me to understand the character of the coffee when it's brewed like V60.
Okay. All right.
V60 origami.
Makes sense. Now, what is your next step? Coming to the end of the podcast, of course, we मान्छेले थाहा पनि पाइसक्यो it's बन्द गर्न लागि रहेछ भनेर. What is your next step?
So the next step would be I feel I want to contribute some things in the farming side as well.
Sweet.
Because I want to learn myself first. I want to gain some information on the farming side as well. To see about processing bhayo, roasting bhayo, brewing slightly bhayo. So farming side money information gather. Let's see what I can contribute. It might not be a lot, but even though it's a small contribution, hopefully I can provide that.
Sweet.
The other thing would be the roasting class. So the information, the knowledge that I've gained, same thing with Nimalai as a AST. We would love to share that. So hopefully, that's it.
Ooh, that's nice. Now, let me just stretch it a little bit.
All right.
Norgey, have you ever felt like you're very young? Of course, you're young, but then it's any bacha type ko dekhera people not believing you. Not aruko kurama, but you have got too much pressure to prove yourself. Or it's gonna be hard for. Can I get 2 years, man? The way you proved yourself, it's a different thing, right? So there are very least numbers of people, and there would be very least numbers of people who would really know कि तपाईँले 2 वर्षसम्म भर्खरै भयो कफी फिल्डमा हात राखेको खुट्टा राखेको भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ. And having all this, gigantic knowledge on, processing, roasting, not the barista side, but you still have got a lot of
just the extraction part.
Yeah, extraction part. But you have got too much detail and more into science and everything. Have you कहिले डर लाग्यो कि मान्छेले मलाई नपत्या होला अथवा I'm very young to this one or हुन्छ नि do you understand what I'm trying to explain यो पार्टमा चाहिँ very young भएर चाहिँ it's going to be hard for you or मान्छेले नपत्या होला or it's just that I might not be able to make it. कहिले के त्यो feeling आएको छ?
No, अब coffeeमा like if I'm not really concerned with like if I'm not able to make it because the amount of like progress that I've been making in the coffee भनौँ त्यो चाहिँ इन्ट्रेस्टले नै भएको हो not looking for like के भन्छ मान्छेले मेरो कुरा पत्याउला कि नपत्याउला I usually do it for me. It's like this is what I want to know like more about coffee. यो प्रोसेसले कस्तो खालको कफी बनाउँदो रहेछ यो रोस्ट गर्दाखेरि कस्तो खालको कफी बन्द रहेछ भनेर अनि if people do come and ask me I'm like more than happy to answer or like share the knowledge that I've gained and experience that I've gained. But I wouldn't say त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I'm like drawn back like too young भएर यस्तो like मान्छेले नपत्याउला भन्ने त्यस्तो चाहिँ छैन
उमेरले भने नि फेरि मैले उमेरले होइन नि
So like I mentioned there's still a lot of things for me to learn myself. The experience that I've gained त्यो चाहिँ share गर्दा चाहिँ like let's say I might be sharing one thing and the other person may have processed a different way that might have yielded a different flavored coffee. There's still a lot for me to learn from that as well. So त्यो वेमा चाहिँ I'm not really like drawn back. It's like मान्छेले नपत्याउला त्यस्तोहरू चाहिँ
I think you should never look into that factor as well, right? I've seen you how hard work you have done. I've seen you how much you have been digging inside these stuff, and then we are tired. Like, okay, I'm done. Please don't do it. Sakyo, bhaigo ta, pugyo, and you're nah. You need to do a lot of stuff. I still need to work on these things and make sure ki you could answer Ramros and this is really interesting, and I'm really, really, really glad ki you have that. You what do you call it? Word okay, गर्नै पर्छ भन्ने खालको हुन्छ नि एउटा strong willpower okay, I have to do it and I have to take it. Not taking pressure, but just to prove yourself that okay, you are capable of doing these stuff for yourself and having that knowledge हुन्छ नि म लिन्छु यो information. It's pretty awesome, and whatever you have done, that's super nice.
Thank you.
So any last words? You want to thank, you want to say hi, you want to say love you, whatever you want to Wait, what? You want to thank anyone over here? It's been 2 years now, and finally Norgey is on the podcast, episode number 19. You want to say something? Guys, you do not have the idea how much hard work was it to bring this guy over here. I think it's been more than 1 year.
I would say like there's a lot of people to acknowledge. So firstly, our Nimadaiलाई भन्नु मन छ.
Definitely, yes.
Because he's the first person who I've learned coffee through.
Yeah.
त्यो भन्दा अगाडि त त्यही नेस्क्याफे नै थियो.
अब
कफीमा फर्स्ट टच भनेको नै निमादाईबाट नै थियो. So he's the one person I would like to thank. So other than that, like there's a lot like coffee community. There's a lot of people who have supported me. Like त्यहाँबाट नि धेरै सिकेको छ उनीहरुबाट पनि. So I don't want to like say specific names, but you guys know like who you are.
So
thank you for helping out through the journey, and hopefully we can grow the coffee community much more better. Let's do some more events. So just like we as a coffee community about coffee ko barema थाहा नै छ, but hopefully we can share that to other customers as well. People, let's get them more interested about coffee.
No.
Let's not just have it as a drink for caffeine. Let's make it something that can be enjoyed with friends, families, and just like gaf garira bela yasto khaun coffee. So let's have that. And thank you for having me on the podcast.
No problem.
Right.
Thank you for coming over here after so long, months and months and months. But this time I'm postponed. But at the end. It's always great to have you over here, brother.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much for coming over here, Norgey. It's been pleasure talking to you, and I really hope that this is just the start, and hope to see you on the second part if possibly. Most probably. But thanks a lot. It's been great listening. I'm not enough, to be very honest, but I think it's a pretty long podcast. I just want to make sure that everybody enjoys, and it's pretty late as well. Everybody knows we do it pretty much in the evening.
Hopefully
But,
you guys stuck with us through the podcast.
Yes. Thanks a lot, man, and I wish you all the best. It's been great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cheers.
All
Thank you.
right.
You wanna
All right.